We're going to call to order the Westford Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. This meeting is being broadcast live by Westford Cable Access TV and recorded for playback online. By participating in this meeting, you're consented to your likeness and audio being used for this purpose. The first item on our agenda at 7 p.m. is open forum. Do any commissioners have something for open forum? Do you have anything?
Just a couple quick announcements. The Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee is having a visioning session at the Fletcher Fire Department Training Room at 65 Boston Road on Monday, December 15th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. It's not intended to be it's designed for residents to stop in and, chat with the town's consultants and the members, kind of looking to see what they would like in terms of open space and recreational opportunities in town. And additionally, the continued public hearing for 23 Tenney Road, 334-1884, the applicant has requested continuance without discussion to the Commission's January 14, 2026 meeting, and we'll, just in case anybody's here for that.
It's Tenney Road?
23 Tenney Road. Yeah.
759. Okay.
Do any members of the audience have something for open forum?
Hi, June McMorrow, Kings Pine Road. I just want to say I had some of the apple cider that was brought by your commissioners, and thank you very much for that. But also thank you for all that you do as volunteers for the town all year long. So I wanted to say a couple of things. I've had occasion to write you, I think, 3 times in the past month or so about unsecured properties at Stony Brook Conservation Land, where I'm a frequent walker. And I think that unsecured properties, all that does is invite vandalism. And you took care of that very promptly, and for that I want to say thank you. I think you probably had something to do with that, Matthew.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you very much, because no good will come of unsecured properties. Somebody will get into it and cause some damage, I fear. And the other thing I just wanted to say is I know there was a lot of talk during the summer with the Park Run folks who were advocating for, excuse me, I'm sorry. The Park Run folks had been advocating, I think it was in the summer, to have a year-round program up at Stony Brook Conservation Land, running, walking, and so forth throughout the property. And I don't know if you're aware, but I just wanted to make you aware. A gentleman friend of mine who's very physically active, and he's about my age, I would say, fell up there on some wet leaves, probably near Columbus Day, and got a small brain bleed. He's on blood thinners, if there's any such thing as a small brain bleed. And he couldn't walk up there for about 6 weeks, but now he's recovered and is back walking up there. And Saturday, somebody fell on Saturday and had to get taken away in the ambulance. And I wasn't there either time, but I'm a regular walker up there, and we all talk to each other. We know who the other people are and so forth. And I just wanted to say that I think it was very smart of you as a commission to ask that the activity on the property not commence until the spring. I think there were actually some letters sent to you from folks that had something to do with the senior center, saying that that would be a great social activity for seniors on the weekends when the senior center enclosed. And I guess, my point is, even in the summertime, there's tree roots and so forth up there, but now there's ice and snow. And so I think it was a good move that you did not allow them to start their activity. And, I just wanted to make you aware of that, those incidents. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our next 7 PM agenda item. It's a continued public hearing and issue order of conditions for Zom Living LLC, 37 Powers Road.
Thank you. For the record, Brian Goodrow with Hancock Associates. So the last time that we were before the commission was a handful of weeks ago, and we were still debating, I believe, condition 75, and this revolves around the irrigation well. Previously, we had committed to removing or not allowing irrigation within buffer zones, 100 feet from the wetlands outside. It was contemplated that that was potentially not enough, and that a testing regime and potential treatment be instituted. And we had requested that town council review the request for kind of the jurisdiction of the commission for areas that fall outside of the buffer. And I haven't heard anything officially from the town, or so I'm wondering if that happened, or if we could
It
get
did.
a summary.
Matt and I met with town council via phone on Monday. And to put it in summarize it, that decisions should not be based on speculation or assumptions without background. And so that was town council's feeling, that landscaping outside the buffer zone, infiltration of PFAS into the groundwater sufficient to get to the wetlands. He felt that there was an awful lot of assumptions and speculation that would rise to the level of impacting the resource area. So
I would say, is council a hydrogeologist? Do they understand that? I don't think the assumptions are all that much of a stretch. You start using irrigation water that has PFAS in it, it'll accumulate in the soils, it'll accumulate in the plants, but it will ultimately move on and get discharged probably into the wetlands, what doesn't get taken up. And the wildlife that's in there, if it's in eating things or gets contaminated with salt, it tends to bioaccumulate in fatty tissues, and that can have an adverse impact on wildlife the same it has on humans. So while, I don't think it's that much of an assumption to assume that if it's there and it continually is bioaccumulating and wildlife is also present, that those PFAS are also going to bioaccumulate in the wildlife that uses the resource areas and will have an adverse impact. And, one of the things we're charged with in our local wetlands bylaw is cumulative adverse impacts to resource areas. So I'm looking at the potential use of irrigation water contaminated with PFAS and thinking it's going to have a cumulative adverse impact to, those interests. So I raised that issue. And maybe council doesn't think enough study has been done to draw some sort of conclusion or link. I think there's enough study already out there done, recent studies in the literature that would demonstrate that it is an issue. And I think a simple, research of the literature would demonstrate that, yet that has not happened.
And so, a lot of your position is because your background is as a hydrogeologist, correct?
Yes.
So, in terms of,
And what I've read, at least from what I can get online, and how PFAS accumulates, in plants, in soils, in wildlife, I don't know what the concentrations are of PFAS in the irrigation water. I don't have any of that information, but I do know if it's present in sufficient quantities, it's going to have an impact. At least that's what the literature says.
so in terms of where you see this going, are you looking to not do the irrigation, or just simply to ask that the well be monitored? on some type
Well,
of
right
a
now, I
period?
don't know if it's being monitored or not, or what, if it's being tested for, and if so, what is, so it's hard to know any of that.
Okay, so, Brian, was there any thought to any type of testing of the water that comes out of this on-site well?
So, based on our previous discussions, the Board of Health has jurisdiction over the irrigation well, and right now the Board of Health does not have have regulation that requires testing.
Okay,
Specifically for PFAS, and we are not offering to do that.
okay,
But we
Well,
still
we know
need
it's
it.
out there,
We still need something.
and we choose not to request it be monitored, then I think we're putting, at the very least, the resource areas that we're charged to protect.
okay. Do other members of the commission have any input that they'd like to give while we're having this discussion? In terms of thinking about what people's thoughts are, I think the appropriate next step would be a motion, but I want to give people the opportunity to ask questions or comments.
I'm in agreement.
So I think there are two questions. Does the water have PFAS? And secondly is, what's the impact of PFAS on the environment?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in agreement with Eric that there is,
Has to be.
based on his knowledge and, what we hear about PFAS, there's probably an impact.
Or there will be at some point in the future.
It'll just accumulate and, it'll be a cumulative effect. So the
I
first
would
question,
agree from my
Yeah, we need more
experience as well.
information.
Okay,
so the first question I think is just to find out if there's PFAS or not. So by testing.
okay. You mean a single test, or are you talking about any type of,
I think we said, we talked about doing periodic tests, right? Like,
yeah, but periodic can be everything from quarterly to every 2 to 3 years. So, Jim?
If we do testing, what are we gonna compare it against? The water standards, drinking water standard, the water department has one, but that's like over a 3-month period, averaged together, et cetera, et cetera. What are we gonna compare it to for ours, whether
I
it's
think
good or
we're
bad?
just trying to find out if it's present. If it's
not
present, we
zero?
can go and look in the literature and, maybe, I have seen some references to turtles and other things and their ability to, uptake PFAS in it having, but, at what concentrations and what concentrations are out there, I don't
We're
know.
gonna run a test,
So
think of the next step, what do we do with the results?
Well, compare it to the literature and see if what we see out there, is sufficient that it may have long-term adverse impact. I mean, it is gonna accumulate. If it's being used on the site as irrigation water, it will
What'd you say?
accumulate.
Are there data to compare it to?
Say it again?
Something.
Are there data to compare, let's say we get a number 8, whatever, 8 parts per trillion,
Then we do more.
is that good or bad?
Don't know, let's see what they have, and let's see
So-
what the literature has to say.
So we're talking about if we did a test and the results, compare it with the literature, what it says, if the test results or the literature is inconclusive.
And I don't know how much water they plan on using,
And that
if
could
it had a
change over
certain amount and
time.
you're only using a very little, then it may not have an impact.
We have
If
no
you're using a lot of water that has, a certain PFAS concentration in it, and that accumulates, and really, then that's gonna more quickly, I think, become an issue than it would be if you had something that had very low concentrations and you really weren't using that water all that much in your irrigation.
So then what factors into that is the square footage that would be,
And the amount of irrigation that they're
Yeah.
planning.
well, just in terms of the amount of,
Well, like square footage area that they're planning on
yes.
doing those
You know, if
irrigation
if it's
activities.
large versus it's small,
Frequency.
well, yes. So
And
I
I
can,
look at that one wetland area in particular that we have, that, the largest one where it's pretty linked, that's, that's of concern because that does have a lot of wildlife in it.
okay.
Turtles and other things.
So that
Snakes and,
Even though the irrigation would be beyond 100 feet, that's your area of greatest concern?
well, my greatest concern is, the resource, but, outside of the 100, You know, we do have jurisdiction if we think that what's happening outside of the 100 is gonna impact inside of the 100.
Okay, so in terms of figuring out,
Yeah, we're missing information that we need to make a rational decision. And it shouldn't be held from us. I think we should, you know, try to get that information and at least look at it and make a determination the best we can.
Information
whether or not it's
that's a-
having an impact.
information that's available today or information that would be available in the future because the well does not exist today?
Well, we don't have any testing, so, of any of it, I guess, out there
We have nothing,
for PFAS.
that's right.
So at least I'd want to, you know, what we're talking about is the irrigation well, so let's focus on that. They need to be testing that well.
So, and I guess some of this is in terms of getting this public hearing to a closure point where they could move forward, you know, is we're getting into the situation of, from the way I'm hearing it, is we don't have enough information to issue, do you feel we have enough information to issue the order? Or, you know, it's kind of like,
Well,
we have-
before, we were gonna issue the order, but we were gonna monitor the well, and if an issue had occurred, then we were gonna try to figure out those appropriate steps were.
okay.
Then there seemed to be a workaround by the applicant that they weren't going to be using irrigation water within 100 feet of the resource area to kind of bring it out of our jurisdiction. And then at least I came back and said, well, no, because even if you use it outside our jurisdictional area, you still might be impacting areas within our jurisdiction.
So are you proposing an additional condition?
I think we should have gone back to what we originally proposed, was they, you know, monitor the irrigation water for PFAS. And if it was demonstrated that it was there, you know, what were we gonna do? Take a next step?
And the reason I asked a special condition is is your proposal or do you see as the path forward, a special condition that talks about monitoring the water from the on-site well for PFAS?
Yes, because that's where we originally were, and then when they came back, you know,
Okay.
we were expecting to see that, and it was like, no, we're just gonna take it out, and therefore we don't have to deal with it.
So, Jim?
Unless we have an idea of what numbers we're gonna be comparing it to and what the level of acceptability are, unless we know that ahead of time, I don't wanna send the applicant on a wild goose chase, go test. So they test, they come up with a number, we don't know what to do with the number, then we start doing our research, then we should know what we're gonna do with the results before anybody even starts collecting water.
Well, just like anything else, Jim, you take a groundwater sample and you have various parameters, you see if they're high, low, or indifferent. I have no idea what's out there. Give me a number, I can do a literature search then and see if that number anywhere in the literature.
We don't need to start that process with a testing result. The research can happen independent of the applicant. When we find out there is no data, or there are.
Oh, there is data.
Okay,
Or there is, whatever we find out, then we can decide what we're gonna do with various levels of concentration. And at that point, if we feel it's necessary to do anything or require testing or avoidance of certain areas, then we can do it. But until then, we're just
Jim, what we
send them
originally
off.
asked for was them to do some testing to see if it was even an issue.
So what you are asking, so if I understand you correctly, you are asking for groundwater testing on site to understand
What if any PFAS was present, and therefore we have a better understanding of what, if anything, we needed to do to protect the resource areas.
and
That makes
groundwater
sense.
testing has not been performed on the site. Has groundwater testing been performed on the site at this point?
I don't have an answer for that. I just know we don't have any PFAS data to share with you. I haven't seen any of that. So I guess my question would be, is this commission asking us to test for PFAS right now on property? Do we even own it? We don't even own the property. Yeah. So what we could do, it sounds like this evening that the majority of the commission, please correct me if I'm wrong, is leaning towards some kind of a condition for PFAS.
Yeah, it's just the
correct?
protection.
an understanding of what we're,
Right.
whether we're dealing with something or
Now-
not.
Now,
Where
has
is-
this been done in the town of Westford, and are there other orders that we could reference with thresholds? Or is this the first
I
time?
believe you are
Number one?
number one. I don't believe we've had any.
No, because I haven't had a situation where we've had something like this in close proximity to a known source of contamination.
We have a speaker?
At least that we've had to deal with.
Okay,
Which doesn't mean we should not deal with it.
right, but so, before I think we have somebody, did you have anything you want to?
No, I just, urge the commission that if we are going to be asking something, that it be based in that you mentioned a literature review and, research, and it's like, we as the commission, as the town and the body are asking for this information. That means we have to, the burden of, much like the burden of proof is on an applicant, to prove that there will be no adverse impacts to the research, when the commission is asking for something, the burden also is still on the commission
Yeah, we're gonna
to cite it, and this is,
So what
no,
happens?
and my point isn't that, I'm opposed to that, but I want commissioners to weigh.
No, we have to do our due diligence too, once we get that information, and it's understood.
Right.
That's no different than anything else we do.
Okay.
That's how we operate.
Yes.
Jeff, I presume you have information to offer, or you can tell us who you are?
Questions?
Okay,
Jeff Hannaford, 5 Kingsborough Road, here as a citizen. What concerns me is that, from what I'm hearing, and I'm just hearing this tonight, I don't know anything about this project, my questions don't really pertain to that, but it sounds like you're talking about water quality from a well used for irrigation. I'm concerned about a precedent. Would this apply to any well, privately owned, or if you're going to ask for information, that's fine, but you have to know that once you have it, are there certain thresholds that are already set in place that everyone can agree with? Or are you going to take this information and decide amongst yourselves what that threshold is? And what does that do to my private well and anybody else's? So I would just say before you, I understand the idea that you want to, of what you want to protect, but I would think the literature that I've heard referred to should be policies or regulations from DEP, whether it's their wetland division or water quality. But I would think that, I know PFAS is a hot item. I've had my well tested through the Board of Health's program. I would think the Board of Health would be
So-
possibly a place to go looking. If this information meets drinking water, we can't be talking about zero. So there'll be something. So how much is too much? And what literature do you adopt for setting a new policy or regulation on a standard any applicant would have to meet?
so for clarification, I believe Board of Health with potable wells has testing requirements that would include PFAS?
I don't know if they do.
I don't think.
Okay, so they don't. But at this case, this is dealing strictly with an irrigation well.
Right, so does the state have a threshold?
They do actually.
Or are they going
So
to,
this Mass DEP, EPA method 1633, and the PPT 20 parts per trillion is the standard
for drinking
for non-potable water,
non-potable water?
which includes groundwater, surface water, and wastewater.
Okay,
So we have standards, Mass DEP recommends.
Okay,
So it's not like we're making these up.
We're not.
Yeah, or not, but we're not researching. from
there,
scratch.
so some level of research has already been done and thresholds have been set.
And for drinking water, it's 20, and for non-potable, it's 40.
Okay.
Okay,
40.
so that's what I was missing was
You can do a
standard.
search.
what were you gonna do with this information and what were you gonna apply it to? And would this affect anybody with a private well on private property?
No, if it's affecting your property, I don't think that's a concern. This is a concern where this is a commercial enterprise practically, right? So this is affecting the
But this
resource
is,
area.
but this is also, if I understand Eric's point, it's because the work, this is all being reviewed because this project has some work in our jurisdiction. And we got to the point that we're at because we didn't want water that potentially had PFAS in it used to irrigate the buffer zone. And so now we're just kind of, there are more layers to the question.
Right. Okay,
But yeah, if somebody puts in an irrigation well and it's not within our jurisdiction, I think it's
Yeah, it's not in
off
our
the-
jurisdiction.
It's not even,
Unless we thought it was somehow gonna be able to impact the resource area.
Right.
but we wouldn't have a filing, so
Right,
would,
we wouldn't have a file, here we do.
yeah,
okay,
okay.
thank you.
So, in terms of, are there any more comments or questions from the audience? So,
So I would, if I may.
sure,
So I would ask for a continuance, for this
Okay.
evening. And we will do our due diligence. Unfortunately, we didn't have counsel here. We don't have, the rest of our technical team. So we'll be better prepared next hearing. If I could get some correspondence from Matt on this DEP method
Yep.
1623,
I'm sending it to you now.
whatever it is, or
What do
any
you,
other.
wanna read it to them?
Or any of the other
Sure,
thoughts
actually, Matt
coming
can
out
pull
of
it
the
up.
commission that
Okay.
we think should be applicable here, we'll bring that back to our team and see if,
so
where it
basically,
goes from there, essentially.
are you interested in the comments commissioners have made tonight, or are you interested in, are there any other points that have not been brought up in the discussion? All of the above.
We're trying to get,
Okay,
we're trying to
so-
get to a point of issuing an order,
So,
right?
so what's occurred in this discussion is available through the Westford Cable Access TV rebroadcast. But yes, if other aspects, other questions occur to members of the commission, please email them to Matt so that Matt is the focal point for providing them to the applicant.
Any other questions on any of the, orders? Other than this one that we're working on?
Well, there's two of them, there's a finding and then there's a condition.
Okay.
The last finding and the last condition both relate to.
So the last finding,
Define, in relation to non-potable water and water supply, we've mentioned that, the order just hasn't been updated to reflect it.
Yeah, no, this was what was provided previously to the commission, and again,
Jim did,
So
and,
we're aware of
and
that.
then it was the last the last,
75.
Yeah, 70.
which is what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so the commissioners do not have any questions, issues, or comments on any of the other conditions in the order, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so this is the last one that we're dealing with. So continue to January 14th,
2026.
2026. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to January 14th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Happy Hanukkah.
Okay. Moving on.
Don't forget Hanukkah.
Moving on to our 7:05 PM agenda item, it's a continuation of public hearing and issue order of conditions for Holt de Castro, 6 Olive Road. Hi there.
So included in the commission's meeting packet were the Board of Health approval for the septic variance requests at the subject property. Additionally, some correspondence between the assistant director and myself, and then included also was some
suggested plan revisions of the applicant's representative and our correspondence there too. Dan, if you want to take it away.
Sure. So I'll just quickly go through the changes since the last hearing. We added a TBR on this other outbuilding here. For some reason, there was no to be removed label on that one outbuilding. The tree along this front property line here, we're proposing to remove that just because it's so close to the edge of the pavement. We think it would get damaged during construction, so we're proposing to remove that and plant a 2-inch caliber maple just down gradient of the proposed wall along the edge of the pavement here as a replacement tree. We updated the waiver request letter at the suggestion of Matt to, we had said that the minimum setback to the limit of work was 50 feet and 75 feet to a building. We changed that to 30 feet to the limit of work and 55 to the building, just because of the way the bylaws written is, whether it's in an unnatural versus disturbed area, those are the setbacks. So Matt was of the opinion that we use the 30 and 55 instead, so it's just a matter of changing the waiver request. None of the design has changed in response to that. And I did have a chance to read through the draft order of conditions, and I think it looks pretty good. Yeah.
Jim?
I think that's it.
There was email correspondence, I think, between Matt and the Board of Health about whether they needed to locate the components of the existing septic system and properly abandon it per Title V. And I believe the Board of Health response was yes.
Yeah, and that was included in
I couldn't find it.
special condition.
No, oh. I was looking on the plan of record.
No,
26, and I'll scroll through it so we can all follow along at home. Special
I'm good.
location,
Thank you.
confirmed for abandonment.
That's good, thank you.
Matt, did you have any more comments?
No.
Okay. Do any members of the audience have comments or questions on this project? Okay. Order of condition, the special conditions. Any comments, questions, or anything? I did have two, actually on condition 29, Matt, if you can take us back to the plan. Condition 29 talks about where there's that heavy dashed line that represents the proposed siltation barrier, which I believe is a limit of work, is normally what we do is we specify that there are, actually, we tend to specify that the limit of work, no disturb zone boundary shall be delineated by installing pressure-treated wooden posts labeled wetland resource area do not disturb, so that the homeowner is very clearly aware that if they want to do something beyond that line, once they're living at the house, they need to come back to the commission and file. That without that demarcation, they're not aware that they need to do that. So Matt, I had given you.
Yep, the language, it's the standard language, it's the language that's typically in or special conditions when conservation posts are required. I know you did the 4x4 inch post, 48 inch with a 24-inch reveal. That's the standard. Other projects have proposed 6x6s, but 4x4 is standard if that's.
For, what, like this?
Yeah, for typical residential properties.
And then the other one, condition 30, talked about removal of invasive species, and I just want, with the second sentence, I wanted to amend the beginning of it to say removal and disposal method shall be consistent with best practices, because we don't want somebody just taking the bittersweet and dumping it someplace. So, I had asked that those two changes be made. So if there are no other comments or questions? Can I have a motion?
I guess I have a question
Okay,
about
sure.
the wooden posts. Would we, is like 3, do we have a number we are thinking for that, or?
I think it's typically 50, or, you know, every
It's a pretty
50
narrow
feet.
bar.
Right, yeah, I mean, I forget what the
One
distance.
at the corner, one at the point of inflection.
Yep,
Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
That's what I
just
was
so that
thinking.
when you're at one post, you can see the next post.
yeah, that makes sense.
Approximately 3.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
okay. Can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions as amended?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
everyone.
Moving on to our 7:10 PM agenda item, it's a continuation of public hearing and issue order of conditions for Melanakis, 15 Island Path Road. Good evening.
Good evening. So, since the commission's last letter and meeting is included, was the plan that was previously included, previously provided at the commission's November meeting. In addition to that, they provided the FEMA revalidation letter, kind of updating the, revalidating the previous letters of map amendment. Again, kind of the concern, the significant discussion at the previous meeting was related to the 100-year floodplain being shown at the elevation as determined in the letter of map amendment. Prior to have received DEP file number later this afternoon. I did provide draft special conditions to the applicant in amending the agenda. Yeah, this was included. Paper copies were provided to the commission. Anything Jeff, Dan,
What's that?
did I touch on? Get everything?
Yeah, I think we received the DEP file from DEP, so I think
And
all
you've had a
the
chance to-
information that Jeff had sent over to was adequate enough for everything that you needed, so
And you reviewed the special conditions?
I did
Okay.
briefly, but I just got to. So far,
Okay,
I'll let you know when I'm not.
okay.
Sure you will.
Shocking.
Before we get on to the, special conditions, do any members of the audience have comments or questions on this project? Okay, we all got the special conditions as we were sitting down here. Have people had a chance to review them, to the point where you feel comfortable issuing them?
If I could provide some highlights. Again, some of the key points that whereas the bordering land subject to flooding, the 1% annual flood risk is at a defined elevation. In order to achieve and comply with the performance standards of 310 CMR, they were, some of the findings include, site is partially located within the annual flood risk, and as such, no alteration will not decrease the flood storage volume within the resource area, and not impair the general performance standards of bank, which is the resource area being replaced, as it is presently compromised. And again, special condition to close it out, within 1 year of the project commencing, a surveyed as-built plan documenting the spot grades within the bordering land subject to flooding to make sure that no flood storage volume or land under water body via the decrease of bank has occurred.
Any, motion to issue the order of conditions?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas to you.
And now moving on to our 7:15 PM agenda item, continue a public hearing for Hammer 23 Tenney Road.
The applicant, after the close of business, reached out and requested the public hearing be continued without discussion to the Conservation Commission's next meeting on January 14th, 2026.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to January 14th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to our 7:20 PM agenda item. This is a community garden request to support the CPA application for a sunshade structure.
Good evening. My name is Pooja, and I'm the Westford Community Garden Coordinator.
Laura Tomei, also a coordinator.
And Bharath Shankar, also one of the garden coordinators.
So we're a team of 3 this year with the coordinator role. We did submit the proposal. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to take a look at it, but we do plan to request for a new sunshade shelter, and we want to apply for the CPC funds for that. The application is Jan 9th. We attended the December 2nd meeting, the CPC meeting, where it was an informal meeting. We presented the idea. We didn't get any comments about it, and the only comment we got was that we need support and approval of the Conservation Commission here, and that's why we're here.
Now, Matt, when you and I were talking, there was a question of looking at the existing footings?
I had not been able to get out and look at the existing,
Okay.
what was previously
So, yeah,
constructed as
that's
part of the.
the existing structure, and if you look at the email from Eric Tardif, that's on page 4 and 5. So these are 3 feet deep concrete footing, which he said is not acceptable. In my opinion, the structure is not sound, and then if you keep, yeah. And then we had back and forth conversation with him, but primarily he did not approve of the structure because it was a 3
The
feet
current building
and
commissioner.
Oh, the buildings.
and it's the one where you put the bucket in and then just pour the concrete in, so it's not like the land has been excavated to put the footing down. So he does not consider the structure to be safe.
Well, then you can redo it in another way and still not lose your place for applying for funds. I sit on the board, so that even if you had to change this, that would not impede your putting the plan forward.
So,
Do you understand that? That you can still put the plan forward and have a change there.
but do they need to, because we have carrying custody of the property, do they need our approval?
It would certainly help.
It would certainly help, okay.
It's gotta be a temporary structure, right? That's what in our agreement would be.
The MOU was changed. I think there was something about not having permanent fencing, but then that was changed. And we do have the ability to put in permanent fencing there. We are not doing it because of the financial reasons. I mean, we don't have funds for that.
But the I think Jim, you're speaking to the
Sunshade.
footing itself
The sunshade.
of the sun shelter
Not
is.
well, yes, the real focus is on the
It
footing.
makes it a permanent structure
Right.
and not temporary.
Right.
Right, I mean, is,
One
it,
that- one of the temporary structures, and
You
you
know.
don't know when or if they're gonna need to take it down, and obviously this one's coming down. Nothing.
So the thing is, with this one, if you look at the roof, right now, the way we were working with is we put a tarp on it, and anytime it rains, it all goes down, and it essentially ends up providing no protection
No,
whatsoever.
I'm just talking about the permanence of it.
Right. So then we thought that, there is no way we can work with this structure, and if it has to be replaced, it has to be a structure, because there's so much, it's a public area and so many people are going to be using it. Eric Tardev, the building commissioner, thought that we should have something with a 4 feet footing. So yes, it would be sort of a permanent structure.
Now,
Still can't be a permanent structure though, Jim. Yeah, like what you're saying.
What's wrong with the spiral,
oh,
And the,
Helical,
right, the helical?
I mean, they have comments.
Yeah, so we reached out to several of our potential vendors to get their feedback, which is written in the proposal itself. Basically, even for our two candidate options, the helical piers are meant for more temporary structures than what we're aiming for, and they would not be suitable or ideal for.
but more of a temporary structure than you're aiming for, but our requirements are that it has to be a temporary structure.
now, is our requirement based on the way the MOU was written, or because we don't want, because
I
you look
thought
at the
it
sheds
was,
that
I
are
thought it
there.
was the former and not the latter. I thought it was because it was conditionalized that way.
Conditionalized within the
In the
MOU.
MOU.
Okay, well, just because part of what I'm thinking is, is other than being consistent, would we consider if, in terms of the sheds that are on site, if we look at this structure being part of a long-term operation, is one of the options to modify the MOU to allow permanent footings for sunshade?
No, not my reasoning anyway. When I
Okay.
was thinking about the MOU, it was, right now, there's a community garden, very active, it's been active for several years. Doesn't mean it's gonna be active forever, just like our farmer.
Mhm.
It's active, but maybe not for very long, maybe a long time, nobody knows. So we wanna be able to revert back to open space without, buildings that are gonna become decrepit.
So,
or whatever.
go back to the picture.
Temporary is what I'm looking for.
This is not a big.
So temporary,
Because that's like if they build that, that would be pretty easy to take down.
Right, this is not a.
So, I mean, so I don't have a problem if we have to if it's part of the MOU that says it as temporary. I don't mind it modifying such that they could have that type of structure.
It would be
Because,
easy.
God, it would be
Well-
really easy to take down.
so I guess the temporary structure, just, and this is getting into the weeds, is, I think the building inspector's concern is with the footing that's in the ground and the stability that provides, as opposed to the part of it that's above ground. So in terms of thinking, is our desire for a temporary structure above the ground level and that it could have more solid footings, or we would not even want the more stable,
Makes
the
no sense.
solid footings that would give a more stable structure?
Whatever this building inspector needs, they can evaluate that, but I want the whole thing to be removed,
Including the footings.
everything.
So
the
if you,
whole
if
thing.
you go down, if you scroll down, we have two options, and that's the reason we looked into two different options. Yeah, if you keep scrolling down, there are pictures.
Yeah.
So this one looks a little bit more like what we have, except these are 4 metal poles and then tarp, and these are going to be 4 feet deep. That's what the building commissioner wants. It's going to be big enough, it's going to have some sort of more stable structure on the top, where the tarp is going to sit and not keep sagging like it does right now, and it's going to be bigger, it's going to be 12 by 20. That's what, currently we just have 10 by 12, and we have a really big community. When we have meetings, nobody can fit in there. So 12 by 20 is our ideal size. And if you scroll down, that, I think what you guys are saying is, this is probably harder to take down if we, if the garden wraps. Not that we foresee, we only see rising demand right now, but, so that's why we have these two options, if you feel strongly about one versus other.
So this second one here does not have the deeper footings in the ground.
Well, they both will have footing, 4 feet footing, because
Okay.
that was the requirement. One has an asphalt roof and one has a
But I think the
removable
first
top.
one, you can take the top off and everything, you're just left with the 4 poles
Yeah.
that hold
Yeah.
it in place, versus the actual structure that the other one has.
Okay,
For
So,
this one.
I would think that option 1, Jim, would be more temporary than 2,
I want-
other than the 4 poles.
because I think our concern is, it sounds like what we're looking for temporary structure is at odds with what the building inspector wants for a safe and secure structure.
Well, obviously we want it safe and secure,
Yeah,
but we want it to be able to be removed.
well, and I
So
guess the
small.
question is, should there be a need to, could those,
So, I mean, I think as the picture shows, the option one, which is metal poles with fabric, is definitely a little bit more, not permanent like the other one.
so you could pull those poles could be removed from the ground?
They will have to
So
be
if we needed
excavated
to,
out.
at the end of the day, if this was no longer gonna be a community gardens,
It'd come
yeah, I'm
down.
thinking those 4 poles could be moved pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Can they
We're
be,
not talking a huge building.
what does the manufacturer say, they can be removed or can't?
They would have to be excavated out or, but I think that we really did our due diligence with the helical pliers, trying to find an option. And even the manufacturer of the first option didn't recommend it. But we did come up with one backup option. We do understand your concern. We could even put funds aside, in perpetuity if you wanted to have the concrete removed, if the
I think
garden ever
that's,
closed.
yeah, we can sort of
But-
do that. Right now, we have decent amount of funds and we can
Yeah,
continue to hold
It's
those in case.
So that would
Okay.
be towards taking the poles out and
Yeah,
excavating the concrete.
yes,
And if we go with option one, our plan is to then take that fabric off
Sure.
at the end of the season.
Mhm.
It's just that, it's going to be a big fabric, we'll have to figure out the storage for it, the sheds, and,
You could build that into your grant.
okay.
yeah,
I sit on the board, you can build that into your
Okay.
grant.
so
yeah.
does
So
this,
let's find out if there's the requirement for a temporary with the MOU.
I mean, I can pull up the MOU, right?
Okay.
okay, so if the MOU requires temporary, do we want to modify the MOU to allow permanent footings for this structure?
No, I don't.
Okay. So I
Well,
get.
we'll take a vote on that.
Yeah, we'll take so that would be procedurally, we would take a vote on modifying the MOU to allow
This project.
to allow permanent footings for the sunshade with the understanding that should, that structure no longer be required, removal would include removing the footings.
Perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay.
Just as an FYI, the MOU does include for the fence, it was modified and we were given permission to put in,
To have two
permanent-
sides be permanently fenced, yes.
Yes,
Well, we had to modify the MOU to do it, so we're trying to figure out if we need to modify the MOU right now for
okay.
We're
this
just,
particular activity.
we're following their own practice. We're trying to be
And that will
consistent.
still get you what you need.
Yeah, okay, so,
Let's go into the assumption that it needs to be modified.
okay, so, can I have a motion to,
Before there's any further discussion on whether or not you think the poles are, temporary or permanent or.
I haven't seen anything from the manufacturer that says that they're temporary. That's what I'm looking for.
and they're not,
Okay,
No,
Because-
but
Yes.
should this operation, the community garden, cease to exist? It seems like with option one, it'll be easy enough for somebody to go in and remove those 4 poles that are mounted. I mean, you just,
I don't know, what's in the bottom of those metal poles, 4 metal poles?
I mean, so both,
Well,
as
it's
provided
like
in there,
4 feet of concrete.
as provided in there, it's a 4-foot concrete footing,
Yeah.
so,
They can get
that's.
around.
So,
Pretty easy to pull
no,
down.
no, it's 4 feet
how big? 4 feet deep?
It's usually
With a
12.
Frost line diameter?
12
Oh,
inches.
Like this?
Yeah,
You bring in a,
yeah,
Build
I
it
would
so
think
you can
12-inch
just like you put it in.
diameter, right, for the
Yeah.
poles.
Would be much wider
And
than.
you could remove the poles from the concrete, and then you can take out the concrete through the backhoe.
That's
We
it.
will
Or
have to
just pull the
use,
whole thing down.
yeah, we will have to excavate it out.
You can
That's
remove the
scouted.
poles from the concrete somehow.
as long as there's a
Well, I think
paragraph that
it's-
says that they will
as
do
long as
this,
they
it's not
get the-
important to
Well, I
find
think,
out how.
are we really concerned about the how, or just basically you can get the pole out and you can get the concrete out?
I want both to be able to get out.
Yes,
Fine.
we're all agree with
Yeah.
you.
We all agree with that.
That's a
You're
want.
fighting against
Is it
yourself.
possible? How's it happen?
Oh, my God.
if community gardens cease to exist
They
and we had to remove those poles, I'm thinking you're gonna get some sort of piece of equipment out there and just yank it
Something
down.
like a bucket
And, yeah,
loader.
and the whole thing is
Yeah,
just
we're
gonna
not
pop
talking
out of the
about a
ground.
building.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I just add one
Sure.
note, just because Eric
I'm
said it a
thinking-
couple times.
Yeah.
The cease to exist part, we are seeing huge growth. We had a wait list last year. We had 76% of returning gardeners. And we do have a large contingency of older gardeners, so this is a pain point that we see as far as having a sunshade for them.
Yeah, and we're not thinking that
Mhm.
you're not gonna continue to have a vibrant community. It just, we're here for the long haul, and we realize that 20, 30 years down the
Oh,
road,
sure.
things could be different. You could have other locations that people like a whole lot better. We're thinking about, should that day come, can these things be gotten out of the ground?
So
It should be
Jim,
written
if it
as
should be
two organizations
written
that
in.
we work with have to dissolve for lack of interest after many, many years of operation. It happens.
Jim, if it helps at all, when we were gathering code for this project, so as an example for the metal, we were given the code for the structure, and then they said that for the footing, you have to have, a separate vendor, because those are different set of machinery. So we gathered a code for that as well. It comes to around $2,000 to $3,000 to put the 4 footings in that's needed for the metal posts. So I'm assuming that if at some point we have to get those out, it would be about the same expense to pull them out of the ground as it is to put them in, and
But it'd be cheaper.
But it's doable.
putting in
Comes out
is
pretty quick.
expensive, putting out, so what we can do is the garden can maintain funds if ever needed, and, support that.
Okay,
We're gonna do that.
so I'm looking,
It's an idea, but.
I'm looking for a we
I guess
can,
they need to know. They need to let us know if they're gonna do that.
well, no, because we could write it into the MOU.
Yeah.
That if we allow the footings, they're required to maintain a fund to remove the footing should they ever need to be removed.
And maybe they can price the cost of
Oh.
footings and put that in.
So,
You can figure it out.
Can
Yeah,
I-
That's not a big deal.
okay, so it sounds like we need to work on drafting the revision to the MOU,
Mhm.
and then it will come, Carolyn, you have a
I was
question?
just gonna say, you might build that into when you come before us,
Okay.
that cost. You might
Great.
build that in.
Thank you.
That might give you a kickstart.
Okay.
Thank you.
So can I have a motion to have Matt draft a modification to the MOU to allow these permanent footings for the sunshade structure and require their removal should the structure or the community garden no longer need them? And then that will come back to this body for review and approval. But I think that gives you the information you need to work with the CPC on your application.
And is our understanding that the commission is more supportive of option 1 instead of option 2, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience?
Hi, June McMorrow, Kings Pine Road. So, Madam Chairperson, I was wondering if there's an idea what the total cost for this project is going to be.
That's really through CPC.
It's on the
But
screen.
Well,
do-
is
we
there
have
any
included
idea
it.
right
Yep.
now?
It's
Yeah,
on the screen, right?
it's on the
We have our
screen.
Okay.
prices for our two
So, option 1 is about 13K to 15K.
Okay, all
We're
right.
not talking a lot of money.
Okay, and I guess I have another question. Is this going to be totally funded by CPC money, or will there be any fundraising? I don't really know how I've looked
Okay.
at.
So community garden is we collect fee from the members and we have a kitty, but we don't want to spend all our money right now.
So where will all of this money come from?
So,
CPC.
and actually, we have a very full agenda. I think you have good questions. I don't know that, I guess what I'm proposing is
Okay.
if you want to talk with them, get your questions answered outside this meeting,
Okay.
okay?
June, I don't consider that a lot of money.
Okay,
Okay.
so I have a motion to ask Matt to draft changes to the MOU. Did I ask for a second and we vote? Okay,
Start again.
okay, so can I have a motion to ask Matt to draft changes to the MOU to permit the permanent footings for the sunshade structure with the requirement that should that structure be no longer required or the community garden cease to function at this location, that that the sunshade structure, including the footings, be removed?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, moving on to our 7:25 PM agenda item, it's continue public hearing and issue order of conditions for Casey Building LLC, 17 Forest Road.
Good evening, Mark Slager from Allen Engineering, here on behalf of KC Building. We did submit an updated plan showing the extension of the silt fence, and also noting on the existing conditions portion of the plan, which structures have been removed already. All of the sheds have been removed, including the shed that's the neighbor's shed that was on the applicant's property. That was removed and discarded. So all the structures are gone. The other modification was I showed the discharge lines right here for the downspouts with a little plunge pool detail for the outlets for the downspout pipes. And with that, I did receive a draft of the special conditions, and I'd like you to call up conditions number 41 and 42, which requires all machinery to be refueled and stored outside the 100-foot buffer, and all excavate to be outside the 100-foot buffer. Since the entire lot is within the 100-foot buffer, I would offer wording that would say that it would be, see, there's very little area right in here. I suppose we could, but there may be some more stockpiling that would extend.
Would, to the maximum extent practicable.
Maximum extent practicable.
I didn't catch it when drafting, so.
Yeah. And then should the order be issued, condition 50 stipulates no work between December 1 and April 1st, is it? So we
Yes.
would request that work be allowed to commence after April 1.
So before we get there, before we really get into the orders, did anyone have any comments or questions about the plan? Or the revised plan? Because my only, okay, Matt?
I don't, Mark, sorry if you did mention this, but the discharge pipe at the westerly lot line was located.
Oh, yes, I did.
That was
I did
something the
locate
commission was
that.
looking for, yeah.
There was
So-
also an additional wetland flag at that location, so I located that and noted it on the plan, added the pipe. It's a 15-inch corrugated metal pipe.
My question was with the plunge pools for the roof drain outlets. Those are in the no disturb zone, which is expected to revegetate, and if those plunge pools ever require maintenance, nobody would know where they were. It would make it more difficult for them to be maintained. So I'm wondering why they're outside why they're in the no disturb buffer versus outside where they would be visible and maintainable.
I put them there because of the grading, so there would be enough cover over the pipe without having to, excavate down into that area. I could certainly, have them pulled back a little bit so that they're right at the 30-foot, and maybe have the plunge pool itself inside. You'll be able to see the outlet. The only maintenance I can see would be just, removing leaves by hand.
Yeah, but part of me is thinking 10, 15, 20 years. You get
Yeah,
it,
but if you can pull it back,
Yeah,
seems like that meets the intent.
have it close enough that it's easily visible and not, doesn't require getting, going significantly into the no disturb zone to do the work,
Okay.
okay?
In regards to that, no work between
Well,
December 1st and
okay.
April 1st, can you just, we do this, and then since we have them coming, a number of them at 7:40, just include this one at 7:40?
Well, first I was gonna open up to questions and comments from the audience. Do any members of the audience have comments or questions on this project? Okay, so you're saying that because we, in a couple more agenda items, we will be talking about it?
Well, extension, or working between that time. And typically, we have somebody give us a written request to work it. So instead of modifying these orders, within the next 10 minutes or something, yeah, exactly, you're writing it down, we add it to the 7:40, and it's good to go.
Okay.
Good idea.
Okay, so, Matt, do we need, where Mark has said that he would pull the plunge pools back to the edge of the no disturb buffer, do we need to amend, add a finding or anything to that?
I think we would just need to kind of amend finding on the first page. There's.
Add a condition saying the plan of record shall be updated to show that.
Yes,
the
to show the
roof drains
relocation of the plunge pool.
Yeah, so there's a finding, so update that finding, and then we can add a special condition would be number 52 that says, prior to work commencing, updated plan showing relocated plunge pools shall be submitted.
Okay.
Okay, so can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions as amended?
So
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Great.
moving on to our 7:30 PM agenda item, it's discuss and issue an enforcement order for D'Angelo 20 Main Street.
Have a happy holiday, everyone.
You as well.
Do. Good evening.
Good evening, Matt Waterman with Atlantic Tech Consultants.
Patty D'Angelo, the owner, and Larry D'Angelo of 120 Main Street.
Last time we were here was your last meeting back in November. We did have a couple, one more items to adjust on the plan. We made that adjustment to the fence at the recommendation of the commission. Submitted it to Matt, who I think has had it for a while. I know he also included a draft enforcement order, and we don't have any more comments or anything to present to the board, and be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from members of the commission? No.
I would respectfully ask the commission consider on the draft enforcement order on the items ordered, that if the commission wants to find the pool contractor, they consider approximately up to 300. The commission may fine up to $300 per day per violation. As part of the enforcement order, I've documented approximately 10 violations of various special conditions. If the commission would like to issue a fine, please let me know and kind of provide the rationale.
I don't have a good history with enforcement orders with fines being imposed.
I have an update for you later. Hold on to your seat.
Okay,
Given the level of effort here, I don't know if,
No, but this would be to the contractor.
No, I get it, I understand. Hard to know what plans he was,
Well, and one of the points that was in the detail was the plan that my understanding is the plan he gave the building department when he went for the building permit was the right plan, and what he built was not in conformance with it.
then we should find him.
Okay? You wanna make the motion, or you want me to?
Well, that's your,
Oh,
Did the building department sign off on it too?
Again, the building department looks, the certified plot plan for the building department looks for consistency with zoning. Looks for, construction of, their role in kind of the administration of the order of conditions and.
Right, but if the plan didn't match what they built.
Right, but if it doesn't, but it may, I don't know if they require an as-built, or if this as-built that was previously provided and reviewed satisfies them, because, again, they're looking for consistency with zoning. They've done the inspections throughout the construction process to make sure that it is constructed using standard construction methods and materials.
So the
so
deviates
stuff
from
in
the
their
plan.
jurisdiction.
Right, I don't think
Okay.
to my understanding, the deviation does not matter to them.
Okay,
Okay. So,
it goes to us.
it does, yeah.
yeah. So, can I have a motion to issue a fine? Our practice has been when we issue fines, even if we have the ability to issue for multiple days, we only issue the fine for a single day. So, can I have a motion to issue a $300 fine, being a single day's fine, for the 10 conditions and instances that Matt had documented in the enforcement order?
So moved.
So for a total of
Total of how much?
3,000.
3,000, okay,
For a
just
total
wanted
of
to confirm.
$2,000. Okay, yeah, do the math.
Yeah.
So that was my motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would abstain.
And you're abstaining, okay. We need to vote to also issue the enforcement order?
Yes.
Okay, could I have a motion to issue the enforcement order as amended? Oh, Matt?
One quick comment, there was one thing, the erosion control plan submitted by the end of December. And is that any different than what was previously submitted? That was just.
No, I think that was just a holdover to, and what, they're just.
I think it was in the, right there.
Yeah, it's in the order. Again, it's a relocation, prior to the end of December. I think what has been provided satisfies that, but again, it's kind of the impetus, and again, the state's form.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, I think what was provided and again, kind of included in through here, that December, the first, the first ordered item that,
Yeah.
the plan entitled is, has been received.
And then from a timeframe wise, with the winter conditions that have set in, we're gonna be delaying construction until the spring.
Right, and that was the process, the thought process behind June 30th, 2026.
Just wanted to make sure, because we had kind of talked with a couple different issues last time.
Okay.
So just wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page.
Okay. So can I have a motion to,
No comments, we don't need comments from the public.
for an enforcement order? No, that's generally for a public hearing.
Sure.
So can I have a motion to issue the enforcement order as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Margaret, you want to tell the audience they can eat again?
Yeah, there are a lot of people who have joined us since the beginning of the meeting. We just want to let you know that there are refreshments and beverages in the back corner because this is our annual holiday celebration. So while you're sitting here listening to our meeting, please help yourself.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 7:35 PM agenda item, it's a request for certificate of compliance for Deca Corp., 122 Main Street.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Peter Carroll, 122 Main Street. I'm here to request a certificate of compliance for my
house. Matt from Land Tech, he's turned in all the as-built plans. Everything's built as proposed. Salem was out there to inspect to make sure everything was stabilized. The posts are in, full post for all the signage. I think you have everything you need.
Yep, and performed the site visit today, and, you know, kind of in discussions with the property owner. Some of the historical corral fencing is still present. It wasn't required to be removed as part of the approved plan. But, you know, kind of looking at habitat connectivity and wildlife corridors, the property owner has kind of agreed to remove some sections so that there aren't, you know, kind of contiguous corrals that are still out there. And overall, the existing conditions are consistent with the approved plan and would recommend issuing the certificate of compliance.
Okay. Can I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you. I hope there's no alcohol in those refreshments.
We'll talk to, she brought the
cider.
She brought the cider, talk to Marilyn.
Thank you.
You can check it out.
Moving on to our 7:40 PM agenda item, it's requests for work after December 1st.
I can certainly handle these. In addition to the ones listed as just raised previously, the applicant's representative for the project at 17 Forest Road, Mass DP file number 334-1. 882. 81882. Requested to work after December 1st for the installation of the foundation and house construction. Again, don't know, you know, if the commission wants to grant a duration of 6 weeks, you know, through the or to allow work through the second January meeting. Again, it's a visible site and easy to get to.
Which one is this, man?
The 17 Forest, the request,
Do you want to do that with all of them?
I
mean, all of them are pretty much.
I would defer to you, if you're.
Well, no, because I think in some cases, the windows for which we extend, it may be till January 16th, which is the Friday after our next meeting, but if there are others that request longer, or, for example, with Forest Road, given the grades, et cetera, are we comfortable with, you know, yes, I understand your thought about streamlining the request. I'm just wondering whether there are any in there that, if we're seeing them for the first time, we may want to have a pause and basically look at the details of what's being asked.
Well, that's what I don't want to give a blanket December to April. I would rather, you know, shorten the window like we have. And then if folks need more time and the weather conditions are such that it seems amenable for us to do, then we grant them, you know, an additional extension.
Yep.
Okay.
But I'd rather keep it short and not grant the full period.
So you're talking about keeping the window short as opposed to keeping our discussion short and saying.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, so the commission next meets January 14th, the Friday thereafter, as practice would be the 16th. That's, you know, I'm more than happy if that's kind of where the commission's thinking. I'm happy to kind of, so with the written request by the representative on the meeting for 17 Forest Road, the motion would be to approve work through
January 16th.
January 16th.
For all of them?
I'm losing track of what's going on. We're treating all these as a group? or
No,
we're doing
just the one that,
Yes,
again, we're
Okay.
starting with the one that that was just in, and, you know,
Yeah.
I have a written.
We were talking about streamlining and that could be interpreted different ways, and we got the clarification we needed. Okay, so 17 Forest Road, allowing them to begin work with the stated tasks through January 16th, 2026. 6, and that if they need more time, they would then come back to us.
Yes.
Okay,
Or they simply make the request. Again, they don't have to be here.
well, no, but they come back and ask.
Yes,
Not necessarily physically. With these, do you want me to give the DEP file numbers or just,
I think the DEP file numbers are good.
okay, so can I have a motion to allow the requested work between December 1st and January, but between December 11th and January 16th, 2026, for DEP file number 334-1882.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next one up, Matt.
Is, again, from the contractors working on the Boston Road Rehabilitation Project. They've been making some progress down the street, installing the trench drain on the westerly side of the road, and requesting to continue.
So can I have a motion to approve the requested work between December 11th and January 16th, 2026 for DEP file number 334-1823?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Because you're in a butter. Okay. 40 Main Street?
50 Main Street?
I'm sorry, 50 Main
Okay,
Street.
I thought I had it wrong. The contractor, this is a similar request, this is the same request as was previously requested by the commission, or of the commission, for the library project at 50 Main Street. It's the foundation drain outfall northerly, at the northerly end of the parking lot. Would recommend the commission approve this.
So can I have a motion to continue the previously requested work at, between December 11th and January 16th, 2026 for DEP file number 334-1862?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
12 more with me.
These are two new requests. The first is from the town's contractor who's performing some site remediation of the areas of concern. They presently have stockpiles, stable stockpiles on the site, and they're looking to remove them and potentially treat the heavy metals if the results are of a concentration that requires. They did provide a map showing the 4 stockpiles. Again, 2 were just at the outer edge of the 200-foot riverfront area. The other 2 are closer to the dam under Broadway Street. I've recently been out. The erosion controls are in sufficient standard condition. And if there's also a second request, this is from because EPA funding is being used for additional remediation work, the U.S. Department of Transportation Volpe Center is doing assessing the concentrations of heavy metals within both AOC 2 and AOC 4. Scroll to a map. Included at the commission, at your seats, were their project schedule, which again kind of does, there's I think less than a week's actual duration of work on site. There's just a whole bunch of days in between for laboratory analysis and as such. And so they're kind of the biggest items are, drilling and sampling within AOC 4, test pit excavations and sampling in AOC 2, and then drilling and sampling in AOC 2 as well. A lot of these other activities are off-site.
Or the monitoring that's on site, that's fine. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And so, test pits and, again, the erosion controls are in good condition. We can start, as they're working out there. I intend to, kind of keep an eye on them. Would recommend the commission grant approval for,
To the 16th.
Using
Through-
the 16th
through
date.
the
Okay.
16th as well.
Can I have a motion to approve the work outlined at, for DEP file number 334-1799 between December 11th and January 16th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
73 Brookside.
This was the former site of the Willows. Come on, there's so many sampling. Yeah. They have a lot. 73.
I got a question on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So the proposed, the plan included and the correspondence from the contractor, they're proposing to install the fire protection service line from the Brookside Road right-of-way to the existing foundation, as was. The Department of Public Works is not allowing them to tie in within the right-of-way until April 15th, I think, or until the DPW director authorizes. But they're trying to do the work on the property itself. Jim?
There were two pipes indicated, right? Domestic water line and a fire service line.
Oh, right.
I could only find one that matched those words. Is there another one somewhere? That's one concern. And the other one's a little bit bigger. If they're marking up a plan, shouldn't it be the plan of record? And this date, I think, is late November. And I think their plan of record would have been much earlier than November.
Right, and so with this, the contractor has the
Why do we have another plan?
the surveyor change, the engineer on the project, and they've changed. So,
We didn't approve any changes to plans.
I mean, it's not, the plan hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's just a different
We have a different plan.
entity.
We have a different dated plan. If you go over to the right down in the letter.
Yep,
there.
yeah, it's a different company, they've hired, they're no longer using,
There it is.
yeah.
And there's no explanation. Usually if there's a modification to a plan, there's an explanation of why, who modified it, what they're responding to. In this case, there's nothing, it's just a new date, and
Again, they reference the plan, this is the plan of record and dated, so what they,
November 24th, 2025 is. the
no,
correct-
November 3rd, 2022, at the bottom of the plan.
Okay.
So they're basing all this off of the approved plan.
So basically, this is just a change of the engineering.
So.
Put together
When-
this
When they make
plan.
modifications to a plan, they always tell you what was modified. That's what those lines are right below where it says November
Right, yeah.
24th, 2025. And project number, whatever, 1001. It tells you why they made changes. What changed? Other than the date.
Wasn't it the first?
So again, this is the first plan that has been prepared by this. Again, Jim, I'm not an engineer, I don't know, standard practice in terms of.
There's nobody here representing the Willows.
No, again, there's the approximate existing water service, it goes,
All right, one pipe seems to be missing from what they said they modified, and the whole modification process has me screwed up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to disagree with this.
But Jim, you brought up a good point, because they're talking about two lines and they only show one on the
I could
plan.
only find one. There's one hidden somewhere else, I don't know.
yeah, I don't, I don't.
So what are people's thoughts? Do we want to see, if they're asking to do if they're asking to install two lines, do we want to see the location of both lines shown on the plan?
I think so.
Okay, I want to get everybody's input.
And then
I'm
do we
good
leave
with
that
that.
up to Matt?
You're good with,
I'm good with asking for the additional
Okay.
line to be
Yeah.
present on the
So
plot.
Mike, and then.
okay,
we're not
I'm not
here,
concerned
so-
about working in this, I'm more concerned about the plan being not
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
so what it is we want both work items shown on the plan, and we want them to confirm that the only reason we have a new plan date is because the engineer or the
Changed.
engineering firm has changed? That there were no material differences to the plan?
We'll let them tell us.
Yeah, but
Well,
that's,
yeah, we gotta
that's what
give
we're
them
looking
something to
for.
go off of.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so we
We're
want
looking for.
confirmation that nothing has changed but the engineering company. Yeah, or, yeah, we want them to confirm that, or tell us,
What
well,
changes have been made?
what changes have been made, if any.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's, yes. Okay,
Good idea.
Okay.
okay. moving
So we're
on-
not granting?
Right,
Holding.
Right.
we're going on for, we're on, moving on to 18 Lawson.
This was a request previously before the commission for the, that's in there twice, to replace a septic tank in the front yard between the Lawson Road and dwelling. He'd like permission to, he's installed the erosion controls, I think started the replacement of the septic tanks, but would like to permission to work through the end of December.
Okay, and you've been out and you've looked at
Yep,
the
it's-
erosion controls are fine?
The
It's a
site's-
non-issue.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the continued work for DEP file number 334-1875 from December 11th through January 16th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Lakeshore Drive South. I'm sorry, north. Yes, north.
He's present.
Hi, Ralph
Hi.
Malbuff, 56 Lakeshore Drive South. I was here the end of October. I was granted through December 15th, so I'm here to request through January 16th at this point. Just an update on my program, it was, project, it was to basically demolish a paver patio and retaining wall at the top of the hill on Lakeshore Drive South, and then to put a walkway on the rest of the property, a small retaining wall with a walkway to balance. As far as the status of the program, and Matt was out this week, all the demolition has been done on the retaining wall that was there is gone, the paver patio is gone. The retaining wall, the small retaining wall that is gonna support the walkway is complete as of today. The top cap, they put that, and the hard stone and some geogrid is there, but, and then on the larger wall that's gonna support the patio, that's got like 3 or 4 layers in, so the retaining wall is done and the grounding around it is backfilled. And so basically, still to go with the project is bringing the wall around the patio up that approximately 18 inches or so above the patio level, and then putting the pavers in the patio and then the walkway. So significant project, it's just, again, the weather hasn't.
Okay. And, you know, so we will extend to January 16th. If you find that the weather has slowed you down, you know, you come back and say, yes, we need more time, that's fine with us.
Okay.
So can I have a motion to approve the work at 56 Lakeshore Drive South from December 11th to January 16th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to our 7:45 PM agenda item, it's a minor modification request for Thompson at 18 Dana Drive.
Okay, so included in the commission's packet was a letter from the contractor looking to approval to modify the proposed pool equipment on the property. As included in the updated plan, presently previously the pool equipment was proposed underneath a deck, or there was two, it was proposed underneath the deck. It can't go there, I think, due to building code because of the potential fumes, I think was the explanation I previously had received. They're proposing to move it to the far edge of their kind of the existing lawn area, up against the fence. It's incredibly close to the wetland resource. Again, I was not thrilled.
Okay.
They can't find any other spot that's gonna keep it further away from the resource area? I mean, I know we put the fence there where it is, but I didn't think we would want the permanent structure that close.
Matt, can you, and in the letter, I think she talked about, that it was out of the site. Well, is the revised location in compliance with applicable setbacks?
Compliance with what?
Compliance with applicable setbacks?
No.
No, okay. So,
We wouldn't allow a permanent structure that close to the resource.
okay.
Or pool equipment, regardless
Is this on
of.
a-
Yeah, it's a pad, it's, you know.
Okay, so the short answer is that no, we do not approve this minor modification request because the location is within,
Within the 30-foot no disturb, I mean, it's, even if it is within the lawn area, it's certainly,
it's a permanent
It's-
structure within the
it's
no
almost the
disturb.
closest point they could.
Okay,
locate
it's
it.
closer than the house. Okay, so can I have a motion to deny the minor modification request for the location of the pool equipment?
So moved.
Second.
Our denial letter's gonna explain why.
It'll be an email, but yeah.
Okay, so I've got a motion, I've got a second, all those in favor? Aye. Okay.
One of these,
Okay. Moving on to our 7:50 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Bradley, 8 Briarwood Road, Drive, sorry.
Jim, I'm sorry, I forgot to print out the legal notice.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 10, 2025, at 7:50 PM in meeting room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street. This is the request for determination of applicability application of James Bradley for the removal of 6 trees and 6 saplings, land regrading, installation of a shed no larger than 8 by 12 feet within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands of 8 Briarwood Drive. Assessors map 45, parcel 83, lot 3.
Good evening.
Good evening.
James Stevie, Briarwood.
So if you could kind of go into what's your request? I'm pulling up the plan, sorry.
Yeah, we just have some trees that are within the 100-foot setback of the wetlands that we were looking to get removed on the property. The ones on the side of the house are just rather large over our children's bedroom, and the ones in the back there are just trying to open up the backyard a little bit more.
Jim?
Are there any distances to wetlands shown?
So the 100-foot buffer, again, this was repurposed on so the 100-foot buffer is through here, kind of bisects the house and then continues out the rear. Again, the goal, the septic system, again, is usually my great indicator of where the 100-foot buffer is because otherwise it wouldn't be there. And so, we're within the 100, I don't think any closer than 70 feet. Again,
So the
just
wetland
based
is-
to the plan left, to the west of the.
So actually, is it
On the
even-
abu-
Is there wetland shown anywhere on?
No, it's on the abutting, it's on 2 abutting properties away. So the
It wouldn't
existing.
even be on the piece of paper?
I don't, again, trying to,
Okay.
repurpose what available things we have. The wetland is located on common land, 2 properties to the west of the subject property, seeking the
So the trees are 70 feet from the wetland?
approximately.
What's there now besides the tree line?
Yes. pine needles, I recall.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Lawn would be generous. And so,
Is there room to plant somewhere else, like substitute?
again, have you considered replanting or, you know, whether
Yes,
it's for
that's
screening or?
That's the plan that we,
Oh,
looking at
here's
the
the photos. Yeah. Like I thought we had photos.
This is the application, we got a letter from,
Right, there wasn't a butter that was dealing with, you know, potential easements and that's kind of outside of the commission's, you know, I would defer to, I would request the commission kind of just focus on, you know, the request at hand and, you know,
For the distance, it sounds like it's at least probably 7 feet from the resource, from the wetland.
Yes.
So typically, you know.
Yeah, so the wetland, so looking at the photo on the screen, the wetland, the property line's approximately, you know, these are the two of the trees requested to be removed. The wetland is further back on this common land property in the wooded area.
And these will be cut down to stumps, sorry, to the ground.
Correct.
Yes.
And this is also, I think this is also where you were planning to put the shed?
Yes.
Well, it looks like the shed is almost right off the back of the house, that red square.
No, well,
No,
the
the
red
blue
square is.
star.
Yeah, the
Oh,
blue
blue
star.
star, okay.
Which, again, it certainly is greater than 55 feet,
Yep.
consistent with the commission's no build structure setback.
Had you thoughts about where you would be planting replacement trees?
we were gonna talk with the commission as we got closer to doing the project, probably along the back of the property line.
When you say the back of your property line or along the property?
If you use that, just don't, the pen, don't
Yeah, the
look at
pen.
it.
The laser,
It's a
yeah,
laser
just
pointer.
point with the laser.
Okay, so probably in this, either along back here or along the side of the property.
Okay.
We would be amenable to either.
And when we say, we ask that you plant native trees because it's in the buffer, but you can, you know, plant something that's not gonna grow as tall.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah.
The Matt and Sierra provided us a list of resources to get the trees, and that was what we were gonna work off of.
Okay, Jim?
I just want to make sure you understand that if the town is, if the commission is going to either approve or modify something that you've requested, that we make no comment or no assessment whatsoever of the neighbor's claim to the problem with the easement between your two yards.
Understood.
Understood.
We're not giving you permission to do something with the easement, we're not denying it, it has nothing to do with our evaluation, so.
Yeah,
It's simply to remove existing tree,
That's it.
sapling,
Right.
shed,
Within 100 feet
and
of
as a
Because-
additional negative determination, we're telling him to do plantings of what he's taken down.
That's, all that's fine.
It's all our
that's
authority.
within our jurisdiction, but
Yep.
in terms of the easement, its purpose, and whether you're impairing it, not us.
Understood.
Did you have any other questions?
No.
Are there any comments or questions from members of the audience? If you'll come up to the microphone and let us know who you are.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, good evening. This is Zahir Abbas. So I actually live behind this property at 6 Briarwood Drive. So all these basically, so I actually was actually in communication with my neighbor, so what they actually sent me a plan actually through my lawyer, and what that plan shows is that like these 6 small trees are actually, which was shared with me, were actually medium trees, and then 6 small trees. But what I'm trying to actually highlight here is that like this is a whole tree line.
Can you hand him the laser pointer so that you can show us where, when you're
So
talking?
you see, right, so I actually bought this property last year only. So the previous owner actually planted these 3, right, this is the easement line. So he planted these 3 as per the easement. So this is whole tree line here. And you see, so Sarah from the Westford Conservation Commission actually shared with me that wetland plan, and this actually 100 feet actually passes right here. But that's, I'm not debating that. What I'm saying is it's close proximity to the wetland, and I have seen that like the birds, animals, Actually, this is a habitat for those, and they are passing from, this is a big tree line right here, connecting all these trees, and these are actually connecting to this basically. So this is like, right now this is like this for last 30 years, it's like that. So now if you're saying that like you move these trees right here, so if you see, right, I also have a fill easement right here. So there is a septic. So if you plant trees here, then they will be blocking my fill easement rights, because for the septic I need to access that area. So that will be blocked. So there is a lot going on here. So I have actually filed a lawsuit, and basically I'm following up with my lawyer. But I want you guys to actually consider all this before making a decision. Thank you.
So, maybe we just would need to be more particular in where we would, request that the applicant show us where they were going to be doing the replanting.
And to your point, do we want, my thought is, yes, we definitely don't want planting where the tree roots, et cetera, will impact either the easement or the septic system. But beyond putting that stipulation, do we need to be included in the review of the actual location? Or can we just say that it needs to be someplace where the tree roots will not impact either the easements or the septic?
When folks come in and we ask them to do plantings, we kind of have an idea of where they're thinking of putting it.
Okay,
Here we are just, well, I don't know quite.
okay.
And maybe a little more thought should be given to, about where those where those plantings are going to be, and just have us say, I'd rather know where that's going to be as opposed
Or
to
at least-
somewhere on the subject property.
You mean, and are you thinking that a condition of the conditional negative would be that the planting plan comes back to the commission for review and approval? Or you would?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
when the addition to this plan would have been, okay, where am I gonna replant?
Okay,
So if I had this plan and it just showed me in another color where they were looking to replant and, is it a 2-inch caliper set?
well, and actually, is it 15 trees? Because there
Yeah.
are 3 large, 6 small, and then some saplings, so I guess.
And let them come back to us with a proposal. It could be a shrub, it could, it could be some other things. But typically, we might want to just know what that is and what it is.
And maybe after they agree.
Well, and I guess that in thinking about, because this is a conditional negative, or because this is an RDA, is we word it that there's a planting, we expect a planting, we want to see a planting plan be reviewed and approved for,
Work starts.
What trees are cut down?
When do you plan on taking the trees down?
Well, at this point, not anytime soon, given that he's suing us.
So is it possible that you just we could continue this request for determination, just get that additional, and then finalize it at our
Yeah, so
next
co-
meeting
so
in
give it-
January?
yeah.
I'm thinking that's what we're
do
doing,
the
the
addition-
timetable.
Exactly.
And that allows us to move through without the guesswork of, where it might be or something after the fact.
I mean, the intent is to establish it at the property line, right? What is actually our property? For us, obviously not within your scope of influence, but the legality of that easement is in question on our part.
Okay.
From a filing perspective.
Yes, so in terms of where you would anticipate the planting, because some of it also is, with how many you're planting, some of it also is, you want them spread out enough so that as they grow, they thrive. So I would say yes, we'll continue to our January 14th meeting, and you bring us back a plan, and we'll take it from there.
Sure.
And would the commission provide any direction in terms of, again, 3 large trees, 6 small trees, and 6 saplings, at least a one-to-one replacement of, say, the large trees.
But, you know, maybe an option for the smaller stuff, you know.
Would be shrubs like winterberry or
exactly.
something like that.
We don't need to put 40-foot pines in to replace
Well,
them.
no, I just, no. Not to have somebody in 60 years come to us to take them down again.
Hopefully you're not here then.
No, a microburst will take them down before.
No,
then.
but yes,
In the
it's,
house.
you know, it's, you know, there's, Matt's got a good list.
Yep.
And yes, you know, if you're taking saplings, a mix of trees and shrubs, more thinking about what they'll look like as they grow in.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So let's
So,
just continue
to, well, are there any comments or questions from members of the audience? No, okay. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing till January 14th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we will see you in the new year.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 7:55 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Lowder, 41 Stony Brook Road.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025, at 7:55 PM in meeting room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street. Consider the request for determination of applicability application of James Walters for the removal of 5 live and 2 dead trees within 100 feet of water and vegetative wetlands of 41 Stony Brook Road. Assessors map 32, partial 37, lot 0.
Good evening.
Where are you? So if you could explain a couple minutes on what you're requesting?
Yes, short version is, I don't know if timeframe's important, but I'll give you that as well. Roughly, beginning of 2025, our neighbor approached us, and he expressed a little concern that a tree had fallen from our property over to his property, just missing the shed. And over the past dozen years or so, we've lost a number of trees back there. There's not a as far as I understand, there's not a wetland on our property, but the property behind us is a wetland. I think it's marked on the map there. Okay, and apparently the root system of the poplars and the cherry trees have been affected by this. I'm not an arborist I'm a gardener, but that's beyond it. Okay, so number of trees have fallen as they tend to mature. Also, over the past number of years, a number of branches have fallen down, as well as, and just last winter, another large tree came right across and actually hit another tree into our yard. And as a result of that, from a safety concern, we actually reached out at one point to Matthew about, you know, we want to take these down, what do we do? And he came out and looked at them and everything, and he expressed, you know, what we needed to do, get a plan together and have some come out and look at it, which we actually reached out to somebody, and the bottom line is getting somebody was a real challenge. That's another story for another day. We finally got somebody who wrote a report, and we had Matthew and we had identified the trees in question, 5 trees that were physically still standing, whether they were dead or alive, I'm not sure. And then there were 2 trees that were physically down. One was leaning, and I guess another tree, and the other tree had split in half about 20 feet off the ground. And say the tree might have been 40 or 50 feet tall, so 30 feet of it was on the ground and 20 feet was still standing. So those are the 2 trees that we want to, that are already, I call them down, that we want to cut up. And then there were 5 standing trees where a numerous number of branches have fallen off the trees, indicating that if they're not dead, they're on their way out and they're going to fall. And there's the neighbor to the right-hand side, right there, thank you, okay? They have a couple of grandkids, they're over there a lot, okay? And they also have a couple of pets, and they're always running around over there. And there's also a pool, which is not shown on there, in their yard, okay, which they use. And our concern, collective concern, is that someone's going to get hurt. Also the shed too. I mean, shed is a minor issue. The people is more important. And also, where you see the vertical lines, I guess you want to call it that, where the 100-foot line is, okay, that's all from that line back this direction is all gardens and pathways in our yard. So we use that ourselves out there, and we have people, friends and family, who go walk in that area too. And the neighbor on the, thank you, that side, they've got 2 little kids, and they run back and forth. The house is much closer to the street, but that area is utilized. The back houses, I very rarely see anybody around. That's actually where the wetland is.
And so this plan was repurposed from when you filed an order of conditions back in
2012, I think it was?
Yeah, about
Okay.
10, 15 years ago, where, and that's where kind of the notes about the landscaped area and the existing compost pile. They have received a certificate of compliance for the work that was proposed on kind of in the darker print. But again, I wanted something that provided context for the commission as to what's, and so on the plan are the 5 live trees, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so,
Matt, how big are these trees around?
I mean,
giant pines, what are they?
no, they're not pines. They were popular
There
in,
were 3 poplars and 2 cherries.
Yeah.
As I was told by the gentleman that came out and
So
looked
like
at
a
it.
choke cherry as opposed to a nice fruit cherry?
Right, exactly, yeah.
yeah. And again, looking at one of the photos of the dead tree again, photo number 2. Yeah, sorry for the, there we go. That looked kind of dead ashy. It had that kind of characteristic.
And that is not the tree that I was referring to that's still standing. The tree that I was standing is like maybe half that height.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another one of the trees that's up there that, to me, looks dead, but I'm not qualified to state that. I mean,
Could you go back to picture number 4?
Yep.
Is that bittersweet that's hanging off the tree?
There's certainly bittersweet along the edge of this.
Margaret's an expert.
Throughout this area of Westford, again, this is the Stony Brook Road and Old Lowell Road. There's a lot of bittersweet in proximity.
So, yeah, because I guess my only concern with, I think you had talked about cutting down the trees and leaving them to decay on the
and
ground.
Matthew had come out, because we talked about what to do.
Yeah.
And getting like a tractor back there is really not practical, okay?
Okay.
So the suggestion, if I remember correctly, and Matthew, correct me if I'm wrong, it came up with, it was gonna be important to you folks to do the best, to keep it as natural as possible. So the suggestion was made just to basically drop them like Mother Nature would drop them in that present location. I mean, a controlled drop, if you would, but that type of thing, that's the idea.
The other thing that we sometimes do is have a 10 to 15, the bottom 10 to 15 feet of the trunk being left for wildlife habitat, for woodpeckers and stuff like that. That would give you, that would reduce their height so that they're not a problem to the abutting property, but that just gives you that much less that's on the ground. My only concern is if there's a lot of vegetation on the ground to decompose, does that just help with the bittersweet infestation?
I don't, you're asking a question, I can't answer that,
I know you can't, but it's one of those things that I see happen a lot in Westford, and given the proximity to the resource area, I don't, I recognize it, I don't know whether I'd want to take any, you bring up good points, it's difficult to get the equipment back there, is this a problem we solve or not? And I guess maybe, what are people's thoughts about leaving the 10 to 15 feet of the bottom of the trunk standing vertical so you're not dealing with that much more on the ground?
Well, looking at the plan, I'd say definitely yes to 1 and 2 because of the proximity to the they're the closest ones.
Okay.
Not so much, 5 is probably the furthest away. It looks like it's maybe 45, 50 foot from the resource area. I've got 2, 3, and 4, which are, looks like they're close on the line. I think you're more worried about those and the impact they might have to your neighbor and his property. I don't know what those trees look like.
I don't recall them specifically for my
You know,
standards.
they're, I could go either way,
I mean,
could.
if they were left at 5, so you kind of summarize, so 1 and 2 be left at, 10 to 15 foot.
Definitely.
3 and 4 at, 5 feet. Again, then it's, it's hitting the stone wall, but it's not, extending too far over. And, 5, again, kind of its proximity to the garden and landscaped area, cut flush to grade and leave it that.
Throw in a shrub or two and call it a day.
Right, I mean, and, try to find places.
Something to
Well-
plant something back in.
But
No
actually-
problem adding plants if you.
Is there enough
reasonable
growing
to-
back there that the next series of plants in succession will kind of grow in, or is this a good opportunity to plant something you'd like to have?
Doesn't look like there's a whole lot around that's really gonna looks more like scrub.
Yeah, I know that in the summer when I was out, I didn't want to bushwhack through it. So I'm not sure that,
That something else would
It's
take
gonna-
its place in succession.
right. I would just say allow it to renaturalize, and I think it's.
Especially with all that bittersweet? Whatever you try and plant there is probably gonna get buried.
That's another project.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of moving this forward, so this would be a conditional thank you. Yeah, comments or questions from members of the audience? I'm sorry.
If you don't, yeah, thank you. If you don't mind, I know nothing about this specific situation. Steve Atkins, 3 Primrose Lane, Westford. I love as an environmentalist the idea of leaving trees at height. But the only way to do that, especially with a tree that's not healthy, is gonna be to bring in a crane to do it. Whereas if a tree's not healthy, you can still cut it from the ground with a chainsaw and let it fall safely. But if you need to do that 10 or 15 feet up, you gotta bring in a big crane.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly, if the commission is amenable to, the condition, subject to the arborist, subject to the professionals,
What the
if-
professional says he can do.
Right, if he says, yeah, no,
Right,
that's
it could be a very large cost difference.
right,
Well, that's-
For the homeowner.
yeah.
Although I've seen, a lot of folks be able to drop it at 10 or 15,
Right,
so.
and, so I,
Why don't we leave it up to the arborist?
Well,
okay, leave it up to the professional, can include it as a.
But I think that we prefer to see them left like that, that's what we want.
Yes.
So can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination with the conditions that as the arborist is able to, and it's feasible, is leaving trees 1 and 2, 10 to 15 feet, trees 3 and 4 closer to 5 feet, and tree 5 flush.
I think it's 2, 3, and 4, kind of like at 5, and then 5 can completely go.
Okay, but just to leave standing trunk to provide habitat as the arborist says it's feasible, with cost considerations also factored in. So that's my motion.
And Mark, what about the other 2? There was 7, right?
Oh, the 2 dead ones that aren't shown on the plan. And
Right, there's one tree that's literally laying horizontal, but it's hung up in a live cherry tree. It's actually a flowering cherry
it's a
tree.
snag.
That is just gonna be cut and dropped.
so the
It's,
two,
it's literally like 6 feet off the ground. It's 40, 50 feet long,
Right.
but it's hung up in the crotch of a
That's
tree.
what's called protest.
And the other one that fell a period of time ago, okay, it's actually going parallel with the back border, okay, and that actually also landed in my neighbor's property, and he cut it back, but that's a.
And what do you want to
Okay.
do with it? Remove it?
So-
It's gonna be
Just cut
left-
it down
it's-
and
it's
leave
gonna-
it?
It's gonna be left where it is.
Then let them cut it down and leave it, because that's what we would
Yeah.
have
So the-
somebody do in the resource area.
so the unnumbered trees, so the
6 and
conditions
7.
include the unnumbered trees being cut to the point that they can be laid on the ground?
Yep.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Matt, you got that?
Yes.
Okay.
He can go
So,
on.
can I have a motion to close the public, oh,
No. I was just curious, I'm
Yeah.
not being familiar with the process.
okay,
Matthew, you're gonna send me something that,
Yes,
okay.
yep.
I just
Yeah.
wanted
We'll
to
be in touch
Make sure I
tomorrow.
understood.
yes,
And you can always call.
yeah, and you can always call Matt.
I know,
Like you already have.
yes, many times, and I'm very grateful for his help.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing? All those in favor? Aye. So now we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our 8 o'clock, our 8 o'clock agenda item. It's a public hearing for Kumar, 7 Sweetwood Circle.
Good evening, everyone.
We'll read the public hearing
Under
first.
Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025, at 8 p.m. at meeting room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street. Consider the notice of intent application of Bhushan Rashmi Kumar for the construction of two additions, 12 foot by 22 feet and 18 feet by 27 feet, and removal of up to 2 trees within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at 7 Sweetwood Circle, Assessors Map 46, Parcel 17, Lot 4.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gulshan Kumar, and I'm here with my wife Rashmi Kumar. We are longtime residents of the town, 29 years to be exact. Very vested in the town, both as homeowners and town employees. And as we are starting to, get into our senior years, we're starting to think a little bit about aging in place. We prefer to do that because we love this town and want to just continue to stay here. But like most colonial homes, the bedrooms are typically upstairs on the second floor. And what we are looking to do is to essentially expand out actually an existing room that we have at the back of the house and convert it into more of a bedroom suite. So we can be close to the kitchen, to the laundry area, basically be on the main level, single floor living. And in addition to that, so that's one part of that's one of the additions that we are requesting. The second one is essentially our son, who is now staying with us. We want to see if we can also add a single bay garage, and that'll give an opportunity for his car to be safely stored during snow, etc. And so that's the one on the right, as you see. It's adding a single bay garage over there. Again, just to reiterate, the room that we are looking to I call it an addition, but it's really an expansion of an existing structure. And anything we're doing is continuing to be attached to the existing structure. If you look at the drawing there, especially the.
If you want to, that pen is a laser pointer, so just
okay.
don't look at it.
Don't point it at yourself, though.
Yeah, sure, sure. Now, this section right here, as you can see, it's just over it's just coming into that 100-foot buffer zone. And the other one is coming a little bit further, but we did have the surveyor make sure we also did the measurements from the actual wetlands to the closest point that it would be at. And those are the distances that are shown right here, over here, and over here, and over here. So at the same time, I heard a lot of discussion around trees today. Because we were looking at this project, we also realized that one of the with the addition of this room on the left here, we get very close to a tree that frankly we have not given second thoughts to based on our current structure. It seemed far enough away, and you know, it's a few feet behind our seeded
So
lawn.
go
that is
back
a
to the
mature
other
lawn.
picture and show us where you think this tree is.
There was another
Yeah.
drawing, Matt, that showed it exactly on the yeah, there you go.
Oh, there we go, okay, great.
Yeah, so that's one tree here, and that's the one that was the big one that you saw the picture
Yeah.
of just now. And the other one is not really any, you know, it's not a big tree, it's, mostly just some branches and stuff, but I was told by the contractor that potentially when he puts the foundation here, he may have to cut into some of the roots. And so he's just saying, I'm just giving you a heads up that that could happen. So that's why in my cover letter to the commission, I kind of said, referencing both of them as maybes. I don't know if we really need to move that tree
Well,
away.
let's give you the authority to do it, and then you can do it if you need to.
Sure,
Yeah, and-
sure.
And if you need to, we would want you to plant a replacement tree out someplace. It doesn't have to be another white pine that's gonna grow big and tall. It can be something
Sure,
that maybe tops out at only 20 or 30 feet.
absolutely. Yeah, that
As
makes
far
sense.
as what he wants to do, I don't see any issue with it or setback.
Noel?
Sorry, no.
I have a question about the foundations.
Yeah.
Will they be putting foundations?
Yes, they will put, yeah. I mean, I've been
be-
recommended that rather than, you know, just do a proper foundation. I think there are two terms they are still trying to figure out, one of the contractors. One is a full foundation,
Yeah.
and one is something called a freeze wall. I'm not
Frost
an expert
foundation,
at
yeah.
that, so
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out the cost differential there, and we're trying to figure out what will make the most sense.
Okay.
But there will be a foundation of some sort. And I believe on the garage bay, I mean, even today, we don't have like a full foundation, right? It's like a slab.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the-
that's probably a 4-foot frost
There's a
wall.
4-foot frost wall.
And that's
then
what
that's
I
slab
guess they'll
board at
do.
grade.
So,
Will you need, for your son to get his car in the garage, you're gonna need to add to your driveway?
yes, so I actually, Matt just forwarded me a couple of questions that had come up in discussions, I guess, within your internal group. One of them was that it was not marked on this, but essentially what we'll do is we will need to take our existing mature lawn that we have and cut out enough space where, you know, it'll just be an extension from the current driveway. Enough space for a car to be able to just come in and out, really, and as minimum as possible.
97 foot.
It couldn't be-
I mean, that's.
Yeah. But it's one of those things, do we wanna see it on the plan of record?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Would we
Yes.
want to see it on an as-built as opposed, you know, because
Okay.
we don't really know, you know,
Okay.
they know they want to do it, but how it actually happens, again, it's 3 feet into the buffer.
Yeah,
I'd
okay.
like
so-
to have it for the final record, would probably be my.
Of course.
Yeah,
recommendation.
Of
that
course.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You opening it up?
No,
And
I'm letting you guys, so you guys done with your questions.
one more question. So Jim, you.
Go ahead.
So the roof is going to be expanded, right, on both sides? The roof.
Yeah,
So you'll put adequate drainage, right, to make sure that it is far enough from the wetlands, it doesn't matter, right?
He's like, yeah, he's so far away.
yeah.
You know, there's nothing here that's really of a concern to us. You know, given the distances, yeah, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Jim, you had a question?
Distances are all fine with me too. I'm just wondering, what's the slope like?
It's fairly flat, it's fairly flat.
Yeah, you could see it from the
Actually, Matt had a
pictures.
chance to actually visit the site to make sure,
Yeah, it's kind of an extension of this wooded area, it's
Okay, thank you.
fairly flat.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
No, just, no, just that the original construction of the dwelling predated the adoption of the setbacks and the rules and regulations, so, you know, not that they're even close to what they should be, but just kind of for the
Pretty good.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience? No. Okay, so because this is an NOI, we'll need to draft an order of conditions. So that would be, what we would do is continue the public hearing to our next meeting, January 14th. Matt will provide a copy of the special conditions.
Okay.
If you have any questions, feed them back to Matt. If you don't have questions, you don't need to be here.
Okay,
Okay, it's your choice.
sounds good.
It looks good.
So can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to January 14th, 2026?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So
Thank you.
Good evening.
Matt will be
Thank
in
you
touch
very
with the
much.
conditions.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have a great holiday.
Yes,
You as
happy
well.
holidays to all.
All of the holidays.
Okay. Moving on to our other 8 PM agenda item, it's a minor modification request for Diamond 64 Lakeshore Drive North.
Included in the, they're not here, no. Included in the commission's meeting packet was a request to remove a pine located between the dwelling and the Nab Lake, the top of the slope associated with Nab Lake. The provided were plans showing, or photos showing the existing tree. They did annotate a couple GIS kind of locating the approximate location of the tree. This afternoon, they did annotate, received so we know which one it is.
Just the one.
Just the one. Again, they had removed trees in the lawn area as part of their original scope of work. The original work was to do upgrade a septic system and put on an addition. The addition has not, as evidenced by the photo, has not occurred. I'm not sure if they're pursuing that, but they have planted a couple trees. I need to confirm, again, checking for checking trees in the snow is sometimes difficult, and would like to have them pointed out. Again, this is they're asking for this pine to be
And they were thinking about planting one somewhere?
Right, again, as with the other trees that were
Other ones,
removed,
yeah.
they, did provide they provided plantings. I think they also got an administrative approval last year. I think I was out, Sierra let me know, but, so we need to just make sure that the number of plantings are.
We keep track of the number of plantings
Right.
because that needs to all be done before they get a certificate of
Right.
Okay.
But this is this one
We'll say we're
lone
gonna
pine tree.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the minor modification request to remove this tree?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to our 8:05 PM agenda item is a discussion of a resident letter on commission procedures. The letter was included in your meeting packet. And Ellen, you've come to have a conversation with us?
Just wanted to be here for your conversation, yes, thank you very much, Margaret.
Okay. So Ellen and I had a couple of conversations, brief conversations about stuff as we passed at various places in town. She very kindly put her thoughts in writing. I don't know if people have had a chance to review it. One of my thoughts had been to come up with a subcommittee of 2 to 3 people to basically, who are interested to get into the details of how, discuss these suggestions, which ones we would want to consider implementing, and bring forward a proposal for the full commission to review and discuss. So, do I have any volunteers?
One of the things I noticed on this, on the letter, is it seems to imply that, to indicate that we need to have a motion on the table ready to be voted on before we can start discussion. I think if we enforce sticking with the topic in general, I'd rather not have the motion in advance, because sometimes we find out things that make us change our mind about what we need to first and second and third. So I like the idea of knowing one topic and sticking with the one topic, but not to the exclusion of all others until we voted on it.
That's what amendments are for, Jim. That's how parliamentary
Right,
law works. You have a motion, and as you're having your discussion, if somebody says, wow, that's a new piece of information, I amend the motion to include this, so that's
But then
just the
every-
process.
That can work, and it can also get kind of unwieldy if you have multiple.
Because every amendment has to be seconded and voted on before you can continue the discussion. So, and this is, my thought is, Jim, you bring up very good points, and some of this is to have the time to talk through them and really think through what does this do to the meeting discussions, the flows, the timeline, the minutes, all of that stuff if we adopt stuff, So I would want to be involved in that subcommittee and, because I'm the chair and I think, that's comes with the job. So are there any?
I'll throw my hat in the ring.
You'll throw your hat in the ring. Any third person want to throw their hat in the ring?
Not this time.
No.
I could if it's not during the daytime.
Okay, and yes, and this is the kind of thing that, we do this in the time that, my perspective is we do this in the time that it takes. I don't know whether we want to do this via Zoom. I don't know if we want to meet in person. People's work schedules, yes, dictate a lot of things. So, we would work around your schedule. Okay. And my thought is we don't start until January.
Yes, for sure.
Okay,
Fine.
okay.
That was with my former moderator hat on, and there were just a couple of East Boston camps here, and I wonder if we could do that at the
Ellen,
same
I can't
time.
hear you.
Other discussion? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I wrote that letter with my former moderator and someone who knows about parliamentary law hat on. So that is behind us now, and I thank you for saying that you'll work on that. But there are a couple of other things on your agenda that have to do with East Boston camps. So with my Westford Land Preservation Foundation hat, I wonder if I could just ask a couple of questions on those, because there are no times associated with those.
You mean, the discussion and action items at the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
First, just to let you know that the Board of Selectmen did approve the transfer of the holding of the conservation restriction from the Westford Land Preservation Foundation to the Sudbury Valley Trustees, so that's done.
Oh, that's good.
That dissolution is still in the process, but that step was done. So there were two things. One was, there are a couple of things here about signage, and are these things, Matt, that our board was supposed to get a letter about, or these are a long time ago, things like signage for the leash law and things like that?
So that was, again, on Monday, again, we can kind of.
I just need to know, is it in our mailbox? I mean.
No, we have, again, the commission hasn't even decided,
Okay, fine, all right.
This
There's nothing to send you yet.
Yeah, this is the first of what
I
they're
didn't want to
seeing.
say that we missed that.
Okay.
And then the last one is facilities contract, the caretaker for
Yes.
East Boston? Okay. I thought that was going to be quote by the end of the year, and here we are at December 11th. Could you just give us an idea what the time frame is on that in terms of that position?
Shortly, I know the town manager's office is working on the procedural end of it, or the procurement end of it, and need to get to the commission kind of what the role, I think 22 items of, that needs to be included for commissioners to kind of take a look at in terms of what they expect the role to include.
So so the procurement portion of the town manager's office is working to prepare the RFP that would go out?
Yes.
And so once they have done their piece, at what point does it come to us?
I mean, the procurement's more procedural, and you need to have this amount of insurance and thing. So for the January meeting, because I wasn't able to get to it, for this meeting, circulate the
previous RFP required duties, or whatever the section is, provide that to the commissioners, provide some feedback to me as to, I don't think 14, 16, and 19, are applicable. I can consolidate that, provide it for the commission to review at the first January meeting, and move forward from there.
So one of the thoughts is, can that be provided, because we want to spend some time going through that review, can that be provided outside of the meeting package so that
Yes, can
the
provide
meeting,
it.
so the commission has a longer window to do that review?
Yes, and
Rather
if you
than having it
provide,
come out Friday before the meeting.
and if you provide comments back to me, I can consolidate them for the
Okay.
meeting packet.
So yes, so if, okay, so you would actually, so because we're going without a second December meeting, you can get it out to us, we can get through it and get stuff back to you so that you can provide an integrated version for our review in our January meeting.
Yes.
Just, I think there's a disconnect here, Matthew, because when I spoke to the procurement officer yesterday, because I was trying to find out where they were, Pam told me it was all in your hands and that she has nothing else to do with it, so I just
Right,
want to make sure that
so
we're-
I don't know where, again, I don't know.
She's
I've
done.
been working with Mike Edwards on this, so I don't know if Pam is, again, the town manager's office has offered to, make sure that the i's are dotted, t's are
Right,
crossed, and
right.
procurement
But I don't
line.
think they've done that. You haven't seen the dotted I.
Right, I haven't
T
checked,
crossed.
because again, I
Okay, somewhere this-
don't know where the i's and the
So
t's.
January may be it.
Yes, it'll be
Okay.
for the
Super.
January meeting.
Okay. So those are the only two things that we wanted to apprise you of.
I
And
can't hear you.
those are the only two things, was
Okay.
the whether where we were on the facilities, to let you know where the process is of the dissolution of the Westford Land Preservation Foundation, which will take place at the beginning of the year. Sudbury Valley trustees will take over from that. All right. And I thank you for your time and have a joyous Christmas. And we'll work out the first meeting among us and how that works for your schedule, Lauren, okay? And if in January we come back and the sense is, please go away, we love the way our meetings operate, and we don't need you, Ellen Hardy, I would accept a motion to that, and I will go away. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our other 8:05 PM agenda item. It's Camp Neshoba, Stony Brook Conservation Area. Okay, so this is related to the lease with Teamworks
Yes,
and kind of peripherally the rec department as well.
yes.
Okay, so appropriate to give an update on our last meeting that we had with,
Yes,
three of us.
I think so.
okay. So Jim, do you want to do that or you want me to?
I mean, I'd also just ask, kind of, if you guys are, if there's a specific item you were here
Yes.
for, you're just attending a
I was
meeting.
just here to find out the RFP, about the RFP.
Okay.
For the,
For- For the facilities manager, okay,
and I think matters spoken.
Yeah, it'll be beginning of the year.
Very good.
I live in Hitchin Post Greens, that's all.
okay. Okay, so, when we met with Teamworks, they were comfortable, there were two options that they had on the table. Is the 2021 through 2025 contract, there was an annual lease amount for $35,000 a year. And what they talked about was for 26 through 30 is the annual lease amount would be $40,000 plus the number that we came up with to cover road maintenance and repair based on usage. The other option that they had thrown out was a flat figure of $45,000 a year as the lease payment, and that extra would be intended to cover our their portion of our expenses to just deal with potholes and other road issues during the camp season. So I think we're still working through the mechanics of getting the most recent manpower and material expenses for dealing with the road issues. And
I've received them, I need to compile them, I need to summarize them into, because they're in work orders and emails as provided to me.
so I think the intent of this agenda item, Jim,
Based on those two approaches that Teamworks had offered us, I had made it clear from my point of view that I wanted a kind of a separate account, an escrow type account for road maintenance costs. Because otherwise, if they roll it into the lease payment and give us the lease payment and that's it, we could then be on the hook for significant more costs if it's a bad year for road maintenance. And I don't want to take on the risk for the
So
town.
you're saying anything over 5K basically would become ours under the,
Right.
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, they were okay with either one of them, so the way we spoke about it is we prefer to have the road maintenance fund kept separate. And if we need more money in that fund, we ask them for more money partway through the year. If we don't, at the end of the year, they can have back whatever didn't get spent. But that way, they're paying for the road maintenance, as rec would pay part of it, they would pay part of it.
So you're in effect making a motion that says,
No, we aren't,
no, well,
negotiating
okay,
either.
you're right, but
These are just ideas that they put out and that we
No, but-
responded to.
And I guess where I was going is getting a sense of the commission that you've made the case, and do other commission members, if that's the direction that we go with Teamworks, and we come back with something final, do the commission members agree with that approach?
Like everything Jim said, except I got one question on the end. So you set aside money for road repair. Doesn't get used. Would you want to just maintain it in the fund instead of giving it back to them and say, okay, you've got this credit here?
We could do either way with that.
Right. I would rather have it just that it would be a credit, so we're not trying to give something back.
And I would want to talk with the town accountant, town treasurer, just,
Yeah.
the mechanisms sound great now,
Yeah.
but, usually when
None of us are
municipal
accountants.
money starts getting involved,
Yeah.
usually,
Did we also need to confirm that this funding mechanism could be used to reimburse DPW for their material and labor expenses to do the road?
it can be used for materials. Again, looked at the bylaw authorizing the revolving account with the finance director, and it can't be used for the wage. It can't be used for salaries. It can be used for the stuff.
Materials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a contractor,
Okay.
which, again, or a contractor to, do something,
So
but.
you want that spelled out.
So Jim, you've got a question.
Yeah, the other topic that I brought up to both of you in our discussions was the need to balance the income and the outflow of money on the property. According to the master plan, the fees collected from rentals and camps and all that kind of thing are supposed to cover the cost of maintenance to the property. And we've been spending more than we're taking in, significantly more. Things like the septic system replacement, really throws a wrench into the works. But I think we may have some things in the facilities manager contract that we may not need, given that we went 4 years without asking for a monthly report. That's in there. That was priced into the respondent's bid. So I still am looking for a copy of our contract. It's 4 parts. I've only got 1 part. That 1 part doesn't include any of the tasks that the person's supposed to do. I think we ought to try to trim back the facilities contract, and perhaps we may need to increase what the first offer of our Teamworks was. I'm not saying we accepted or didn't accept what Teamwork offered, but that was their first offer. We didn't negotiate anything on that. They just laid out a couple of figures and 2 possibilities, and we said, okay, thank you, and we continued on with our discussions. we may be asking for more from them, we may not. We may be setting up a lower cost on the facilities manager or not.
Well, but to that point as well, do we need to look at increasing the fees we charge all of our other renters?
Maybe, and that was the other part of that same question. Recreation does rentals for us. I have no clue how much we received in rentals.
I can get that number.
I know, but we.
It's
whatever it is. I
Get
don't
that
know.
balance less $35,000, and that's what we've taken. You know, outside of what's been taking in, you know, there's only it's the only deposits have been Teamworks and you know the
And rec
30
rentals.
the $30
I don't know
scouts.
what any of those are.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get that
Okay.
number.
What I'd like to try to do is balance the inflow and the outflow. Not just have, because otherwise we're taking it from the taxpayer dollars, and master plan specifically said the public much of the public is not interested in the towns running the camp, but having an operator run it.
Well, yes, but that was also when the town was going to provide land stewards to help. When the residents were going to provide land stewards to help, and a friends group.
And there was going to be an active friends group. I know, there's a lot of things in that master plan that are, things that are good that we avoided, like the forestry activity, and some things in there that just disappeared because there's no more friends right now.
But that's good to
No.
look at again.
Is the Teamworks a 3-year contract?
5, up to 5.
Yeah.
So we would set aside whatever it is, 5 or 10,000 a year
No,
for,
No,
so
it's-
45,000 for 5 years? Or?
no, what it would be is that if we go with a road repair surcharge,
Yeah.
then every year, that would be part of the money they give us. Either it's a bill based on actual or it's an agreed upon pre-amount. But part of what this agenda item also is for is to get the commission, to have the commission vote on allowing Jim and I to continue being the commission's representative in the negotiations between the lessee and the town. So that we basically can work through all the details we've been talking about. And then also that when we get to the point where we feel we have the contract the way we want, you know, the details we want worked out, is to be authorized to make a recommendation to the select board once we have a final agreement with Teamworks. And I guess, do we also need to have a final recommendation with the Recreation Department?
Yes, I think, remember, they're going to be participants in this road fund escrow account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending, it'll be, prorated based on how.
Right,
much
and again,
traffic
I don't know how.
So as to what you said, I'll make a motion to that effect.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got it here in front.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Motion seconded. All those in favor?
Aye. There you go.
Okay.
Next agenda item, the Community Preservation Act applications. On December 2nd, I attended the CPC's needs assessment meeting.
Oh.
Oh.
Just before do you need me here to keep it in public?
I don't even know.
No, no.
I can leave?
You can.
Anytime.
You guys can all talk to yourselves.
We have the cameras.
We have,
Quite that way.
we're on Westford Cable Access
Yeah,
TV.
they all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that
No, you're welcome.
No, no, no.
You're welcome to
leave
stay or go.
Take a cookie for the.
Take some cookies.
Yeah, get some goodies. But no, it's just, yes, we, from time to time, we have visitors and they come for a variety of reasons. A lot of times, people, when we have an opening, they will come in and kind of get a sense of what the commission does and what the meeting is. So, you're always welcome.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
Didn't want to leave you hanging,
No, hey,
No,
we
we appreciate
appreciate
your thought.
that effort on your behalf.
And I got to see Ellen Hardy. Wow. Celebrity here, man.
Now you're on television and told everybody that too.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
December 2nd, attended the CPC's needs assessment. Provided an overview of the kind of 2 requests was to be submitted on behalf of the commission. The for the design of the replacement footbridge at one of the Neshoba Brook Conservation Area parcels. That was amenably received, again, in terms of kind of contributing of the commission's reserve receipts and earnings from some of the accounts. I was anticipating matching, $10,000 of the $20,000 total project estimated cost. And that was received, with the intent of getting having an architectural design with costing to come back at a subsequent, at next year's, as opposed to just kind of taking a wild speculative guess. Have something a little bit more
But that
firm.
would get on the agenda.
Yep, right, exactly, yeah. So just, and then the other item regarding the improvements to the Freedom Park property, including, the rehabilitation of the gazebo, the fishing pier, sidewalk, the pathways within, and increasing some of the pathways to allow for better accessible connectivity between the parking area and some other things. And landscaping improvements around the parking area, some of which were included in that residence email from a couple of meetings ago. Kind of one portion of the proposed included was also the funds for design and construction of a retaining wall along that easterly slope heading back up towards the Cameron Senior Center. Due to, one of the members of the CPC recommended or wanted me to evaluate whether or not to kind of break it into two phases with, all the other kind of hardscaping improvements as phase one presently, and coming back at a subsequent year, looking for funds to, construct the retaining walls that would largely probably be 2/3 of any, is kind of my.
Did you have numbers on any of that?
I have no, and so again,
Show it
as
both ways.
and as part of, kind of the phase one of the improvements was also, part of that would be to have an engineer actually, evaluate and design so that, again, we can have a firm cost and it's not just Matt playing engineer and project costing.
I have that so that, they look at the whole amount of money.
Right,
they have to spend
but we
anyway,
can.
And how many applications they have, so some of that, you're not sure where you'll be.
Yep.
So I put in the whole picture, both
Nope.
ways.
Yep, that was kind of my thought based on the discussion, but kind of wanted to just provide an update to the commission for that at this time. If I may continue on to the next agenda item, and again, this was provided later on to everybody, and if I can figure out how to work a computer. The town manager's office and the assistant town manager, Mike Edwards, and Kirsten Hirschler, the animal control officer. Kirsten evaluated the existing conditions of the Stony Brook Conservation Area with respect to enforcing the town's leash laws. And she wants, and at the recommendation of the town manager's office as well, want to at least, while there are lots of people that say that they, with off-leash dogs, they are recommending clear, consistent, visible signage, so that there's no ambiguity and at visible locations. The animal control officer identified the Depot Street entrance at the main kiosk around the parking area. In addition to the two camp access roads, both going up to Neshoba and Waukee, or Neshoba and Cielo, and then also up to Waukee on the other side. Kind of explicit, no ambiguity. She did provide some some signs. Again, these would all be, and then also along the back, the trolley line adjacent to the Stony Brook Middle School.
as people access the property from there. So happy to.
Those signs would be nice, but that's not what our leash law says. Leash law doesn't require the dogs to be on a leash, and neither does our rules for conservation properties. Our rules for conservation properties says the dog has to be under the owner's control, and then it says in accordance with the town bylaw, it covers the so-called leash law. But then the leash law, it provides outs, the dog has to be under control of the owner, but it could also be off-leash, being trained for purposes of hunting, not hunting on the property, because there's no hunting on the property, but just being trained. That's okay. So if we're gonna have these signs that say dogs must be on leash or dogs must be leashed at all times, at least either the town bylaw or the conservation rules for the property, one or the other should at least say dogs must be on a leash when not on the owner's property.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we can.
So we're
do it separate.
consistent.
Right.
Yeah, but we also might be a different entity. You know,
So, yeah,
where our experience shows us that we need it this way.
So do we want to, so the
We have to
choices
add
are
officially.
amend the town's leash law,
Which would probably be a lot harder.
or just specific for the needs of our property.
That's what I.
We have like a 3-page summary of rules for conduct on conservation properties, and that's what I think we should talk about. We updated that back, I think, 2022 is the date on the document.
Yeah, I recall. Yeah, it was the grilling, I think.
So do we need, so there was something you flashed by that said pets on leash.
True, there's a lot of signs there, but those signs aren't necessarily consistent with our bylaw.
Well, no,
Or
but,
with our own rules.
but where I was going is with our rules, do we want to say, should our rules say dogs, or should our rules, and actually, pets or animals?
What else have you seen up there?
No, I was just, because the thing about.
There's a couple of things about horses.
I
Horses.
got the idea about use of speech and change of vernacular, but I mean, I have seen nothing else. What else have you seen there?
No, I'm just, some of the signs mention horses.
Oh.
True.
Okay, that's.
And I haven't seen a rule on horses anywhere. I don't know.
I haven't either.
I think.
Wouldn't worry about
No, it just, yeah, so, should we just start with dogs? And if,
I like it dogs, because that's what we're talking about.
okay, and if we get to the point where we've got a new problem, then we just address whatever
Yeah, we'll
problem
address
comes
it when
in.
it occurs, yeah.
Okay,
I'd leave it at dogs.
so, so you're looking for a motion?
So if, some clarification, is additional signage something the commission wants?
Yes.
Yes, okay, again,
No, I'm just thinking.
I mean,
about it.
my next question then becomes, what is on it that,
There's signs up there on the property, on the path down to the day beach that says a $1,000 fine for littering. I don't know who put that sign up.
I mean, let's, again, so what sign, what dog,
Yeah,
related
let's
to
focus
dog
on the
leashing.
subject. Yeah.
Okay, the subject is how the rules, what rules we have to apply.
No, it's, the subject is a request to install a leash law signage, so let's focus on that.
Right.
And skip the rest of it and for another meeting, but let's focus at the task.
You mean skip the details of the sign till another meeting?
No,
Take
all
this
the other
one-
things that Jim thinks should be rolled into this discussion.
Take this one,
Well,
I
no,
was gonna say, take
Carol?
this one thing that we're talking about and handle that one thing.
so the one thing
The
is,
dog leash.
so dogs on leash, do we need to get into, the details of what's on the sign?
The details of what?
What is on the sign?
I love dogs must be on leash. I mean, you couldn't be any clearer than that. It's yellow, it's.
Although, like Jim says, it needs to be consistent with what,
To change.
Well, no, but we also need to change the
A
commission's.
sign like that is fine, but then we'd have to change our rules, and that's okay, I
Okay,
think we
so we
should.
need to do both
Yes.
together.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
I think that sign stands out. I mean, you can't miss that sign. You know, the color, the setting, and it doesn't mince words. I mean, it says it like it is.
You just have to be able to read English.
I mean,
And
but
have it in more than one language.
Oh, come on.
no,
no.
just stick the
Okay.
sign,
Well,
stick with the yellow sign.
okay, And I guess there's no international symbol for a loose dog. A dog off leash.
Right, I mean, these,
Yeah, if you could use that.
I like the
picture.
yellow signs.
right, again, which is what we've, again,
I like yellow better than anything.
okay,
Yeah.
yellow sign,
You talk about something that's right out there in your face.
Well, yellow means caution, it draws your attention to it.
Okay.
It's also more succinct, it's short, it's,
Yeah.
bang, it's right there.
Okay, so, so we like the yellow sign. No, Lauren?
You're saying Westford does not have a leash law?
Well, we do, but it doesn't say all pets must be on a leash.
Okay, I was like, I'm pretty sure Westford has a
Yeah.
So dogs must be on leash,
Under
and we need to, and you're saying that we need to also correspondingly update our commission regulations for our properties.
Our commission rules and regs for the property, yes.
Okay,
The town bylaw can stay just the way it is, and that'll be applied elsewhere, but this is conservation property. And I think we have.
Our rules take
much easy-
precedence.
It's much easier for us to modify that than to go to town meeting and get a new.
I would sit in them, I would help with that I could do. If you were working on your laws. You said-
How
you
many
said
signs are
yellow.
we gonna have to put up?
again, and so that, thank you for asking, Jim, you're reading my mind.
I saw the letter and I was reading it and I lost count.
And so again, my thought was, one, on the road coming in, at where it bears to the right, going to the parking area. So again, people parking here can't say, oh, I didn't, parked here, went around, oh, I didn't see it. Have it right below the 10-mile-per-hour speed limit sign. Anybody coming into the property by this way
Okay.
sees it. Again, I don't know if, having maybe something smaller at the kiosk, people go there to look at the map.
Anywhere people's eyes go.
Again, both, I was thinking one at both the access gates going up to the camps, on either those posts or, in that general vicinity. And then to their point about there's no signage off of the former rail line, which isn't the town's property, so that's, there's, potentially 3 or 4 trailheads or trail access points from the former trolley line onto the back of the Stony Brook Conservation Area. Do we have a post installed by a 4x4 post installed by DPW so that,
so we're not relying on the location of the tree, we put the post where it'll make the
I
sign
agree.
visible. Okay.
We're gonna make sure you can't miss it.
Just remember, this is just a request, and all
Right,
we
no,
have to say is,
right.
yes, we're good with the request.
Right.
We can continue to hammer it out and decide what we want later.
and again, or have, if the commission wants to, authorize, Margaret and I to, and again, to Ellen's point, I'm sure there's some language in the CR about signage. I'd have to go and take a look. I hadn't even gotten
Have
to,
do diligence, or give it to me and I'll read it for you, or something like that.
What do we do with my due diligence? I'll let you read it.
Oh my God. Are you a micromanager?
No.
But yeah, Matt's thinking about we're full steam ahead on the signs, do we have to let the Land Preservation Foundation know?
Yes.
right, or at least confirm through the CR,
I think
which,
it does say signage.
right.
So that's another.
But it goes both
We
ways
also,
too.
I don't know where we'd ask it, but we certainly could ask the people like June, who use the properties as much as she does. Where else? Is there any place else that you would, that a sign would be useful, that people would see?
My thought is the points of access, so,
Okay.
and whether it's 3 or 4 at the parking area off of Depot, yellow. And then, there's another, 3 or 4 off of the trolley line that, again, I would wanna.
We're in agreement, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all we need to be right now, it's just an
Yes,
agreement.
okay, yellow signs, okay. So next is ratifying the enforcement order for 43 Cold Spring Road.
I have not issued that. I need to make a couple changes to the language based on the chair's recommended review. That'll be provided for the commission at a subsequent meeting.
Well, but that doesn't hinder you from,
I can issue it as an agent of the commission.
okay,
I like, enforcement orders don't have to be ratified by the commission. I like for them to be, if I issue them, so that you see what it is and it's not just Matt going rogue issuing enforcement orders.
Oh, so our
As
next
we always
meeting,
suspected, yeah.
our next meeting is 5 weeks out, but.
I can
but
issue
this-
it tomorrow with
Okay,
the other
so
enforcement.
you-
5 weeks? I thought it was 4.
Well, no, because, yeah, I mean, there's
I got it,
21
I got it,
plus
I got it.
14 is 35.
I got it.
Yeah, okay. So that's tabled. Certificate of compliance for Franklin.
I have no update on this.
Okay, so,
Oh, and here I was. gonna
I
say-
can run through some of the discussion the discussion and action items.
I remember when we first went there.
In terms of this 20 Keys Road, 27 Tenney Road, and 35 Keys Road, I do not have an update on. I have not made any progress with those. With respect to the CSX Railways right-of-way, I spoke with the circuit rider, DEP circuit rider today, and based upon her professional capacity with Nero, also as her former experience as an agent, she provided some recommendations on places, on kind of avenues to pursue, to Jim's point about, we haven't, even received acknowledgement of the enforcement orders we issued to CSX, the vegetation management contractor. Just today or yesterday, I received the enforcement order to the wetland consultant that got bounced back because they never picked it up. So they provided some recommendations. I'm intending to contact the enforcement head with DEP Nero, also ask the town manager to reach out for permission to reach out to town council to go about it under that kind of avenue, legally more so than an enforcement order. And so there are means, and one of the other questions to ask town council would be, can the commission revoke a determination of applicability? The circuit rider did not know, and didn't seem like I was going to be provided an answer if she did get an answer, which is perfectly within their right. So that's kind of, that's always kind of the, last resort of, saying, well, you need to file back with the commission and, kind of create a procedural.
One step forward, half a step back.
I don't know, do not have any update on the Lakeside Meadows encroachment. I need to schedule, work towards that. We did receive an email from a member of the public regarding the use of the Emmett and Neshoba Brook conservation areas by commercial entities in the MOU. I can try.
What'd you say?
I can try.
All you can do is do what you do.
Moving along.
With respect to the Stony Brook Conservation Area, and I know these are some of the things that were included. At the select board meeting last night, they approved the purchase order for the chimney repairs at the Neshoba Lodge, so we'll be signing that, providing that to the contractor to, proceed, and again, maybe springish. Yeah,
Won't be in the winter.
Right, well, and so, but defer to them in their kind of professional capacity, knowing what can be done. I don't really have any.
Yes, you do. The East Boston Camp's signage at the beaches, all 3 are updated.
Oh, right, well, I told you.
All 3 are perfect, and that can come off the list.
Thank you, Jim. I would have just skipped right over it.
Please.
Well, in the chimney repairs, I mean, now that we have a PO.
That one's
Okay,
still-
you don't want that one coming?
No,
Okay.
we still gotta,
Okay.
we have to keep after the contract.
did-
Until they do it, yeah.
Right.
I did have, so the East Boston Camps Advisory Board was a boarding committee that was formed by the town, and it is included in the boards and committees database. It was dissolved in 2012, 2013, and what I now need to find is the information as to why. Whether it was appointed by figure out.
I was the chairman.
I know you were, I saw your name on it. You were actually, think you were on. And so that was,
What did you just mutter there?
yeah, I think you were on it, the EBC.
Which one was this?
The East Boston Camps Advisory Board.
Yes, at
Yeah.
one point.
And so,
I'm here
kind of
all
just
the
as
time.
it was a thing, figure out why it dissolved.
Well, but some of it is also why it dissolved, but also look at the challenges we've had with that property in terms of us having care and custody, but, there's a lot more to do than just.
We
so-
should make a sheet up.
Well, no, but some of it is the advisory board something where we can have them take a more active role with the aspects that we find challenging?
But if you had a list, all the things we do, and the things we like to do, and the things we were assigned to do, that a whole big picture kind of thing, then you have a different approach when you go talk to them. More help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is what we've done, X amount of years, this is all we've had, et cetera. And at this point,
Do you remember what the
When I-
charge of the board was?
I can find.
Yeah, I would say, look at that, have they met their charge? Is it time for it to be,
Well, it's dissolved now, so it's.
Things they were supposed to do,
Right.
and they've met that obligation, and therefore the committee is no longer required.
Right.
Can we come up with a new list of charges?
Yeah, but sometimes.
Let's take a look and see
Yeah,
what.
but it becomes an avenue to expand the pool of resources that are helping to care for the
Absolutely,
property.
yeah. When I moved here, there was.
But it's only in an advisory capacity. It's not in a decision-making.
No, but there's,
If it's.
it's
Are
advisory.
they advising the commission as, the entity that has custody and care?
But can we, as an advisory, can we delegate some of the legwork, some of the research and stuff like that to them?
Right, I guess only if they come back with recommendation to us.
Well, yeah, if we need if it would help us for them to look into something, come back with recommendations, as opposed to us having to find the bandwidth to do that.
Fine with that.
Yeah, okay.
No, I just want to say, I'm here 57 years. So when I came, there was 7,000 people. There are about 25,000 people now. So when you look at what we said we would do or what we try to do, times have changed. So has the volume changed, which then changes what we can do and what we can't do. So I mean, I think we use a piece of that, to remind people, yeah, we were doing it. I mean, I was here when all of this happened. Same groups can't keep doing this because it takes thousands of more hours than what they were putting in originally. I mean, George Fletcher was in charge of the whole East Boston campus. So, just a thought.
But appreciate it. I don't have anything with respect to the Edward Woods concert.
What about tree management and?
Oh, the tree management, I need to coordinate with, I need to inventory, I need to document the management end of it in terms of pruning some dead limbs and branches for documentation to the conservation restriction grantee. The removal of the broken one, I need to just get some, the contractor, the town has, I need to find a new contract. I need to just get a third party to remove the.
They just shifted the.
It's in
Sudbury.
process.
Okay, so it's a good time for us to look at the things that maybe we shift. Let Sudbury Valley trustees take a look at some of those things.
Yeah, no, it's in
it's
the overall management. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. That,
Yep,
the timing is perfect.
Well, and
We completed such and such, and now we need to look at the next.
but they've also, because of the work they do, they also have a lot of expertise that we could tap for things like, if a trail gets degraded, trail on a slope gets degraded because of use, with their other properties, do they have expertise or approaches, things we could
Right. But
consider?
we might need people as well. I mean, that's what I think we need to shift to. people as well. So it's not just recognizing what, what needs to be done. It's now for Group B, I'm just.
Well, and actually, when that becomes effective, would it make sense to have
A meeting?
a meeting with
Hello?
the representatives meeting the full members of the commissions?
Absolutely.
So that we have that
And talk about
introduction.
changes and such, and how do we interact with you with that, and how do we pass on to other people, because, we've only done it for 25 years, or whatever we put out there.
I do not have anything with Edwards Woods at this time. And again, the Freedom Park improvements are kind of tied in with the CPC application. I'll try to get the letter to Summer Village regarding the fireworks sampling out. 2 minutes.
People had a chance to review the October 8th minutes. They were in the packet?
I know,
Oh.
I know.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the October 8th minutes?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.